Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and we're back today for another episode of Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep. And we don't have a full cast and crew with us today, we don't have Pruitt and Don with us, but they'll be back with us next week. Fear not, they will not be spared the horrors. They'll get up to their own individual horrors of real life. But they'll be back next week for some continued adventures. Speaking of which, let's go meet the adventurers today, our fellow investigators. Let's remind ourselves of who we are and who we're playing. And let's start with Greg. How's it going, Greg?
I'm doing great. It is Wednesday. It is now 2 to 5 where it's at. I'm here to take on the missing percentage of terrible wild magic surges, curses, Cthulhu, eldritch shit that usually would have been going the way of Pruitt and Don, but that's my lot in life. For I will be playing none other than Marcus Jordan. All around great guy. He's always thinks he's like a Captain Picard. Diplomacy, 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 and when all else fails, action. So, let's go back into calm, rational thought with Marcus and, of course, his wife, Catherine. Honey?
Oh, thank you, dear. Hi, I'm Lindy, and I'm going to be playing Catherine Jordan, trophy wife extraordinaire, and also between work as assassins. It's a real interesting situation right now. They don't want to talk about it, but she's visiting with her brother. That's great. And she's got another brother nearby, and that's great. I'm sure nothing terrible is going to happen at all. It's just going to be great times.
Sure. And the third wheel in today's episode is Lucian. How's it going, my friend?
Not the first time I've been a third wheel, Will, I'll tell you that. Yeah, not too bad, pretty good. Got a nice cup of tea that I've almost finished, so that's all nice, and I'm good. I feel confident about this episode. I mean, forget that we're 2 people down, forget about that. I think the best members of the party are still here, if I'm honest. I think the best members of the party are still here. We'll find out if they actually rewatch the episode now. This is the test. This is the test if they rewatch. If they don't, then we'll know. But I'm very excited to play Lucian. So yeah, I'm really excited. So Will, after you.
Absolutely. Well, my friends, they are a couple of members down today, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the 2 people who get into gunfights and explosions and car crashes aren't here. So things will just be fine with the 3 squishiest members of the party with us today. So I'm very excited for that. Of course, I'm reminding you guys of a couple of things before we get started today. The first of which is, if you guys are watching on YouTube, hello, drop us a comment. We love reading those comments. If you want to like the video, go ahead and like it if you like it. And come and join us on the live show here. It's a lot of fun with live chat experience. You can say hi to the cast and crew. We're live every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern on twitch.tv/Encounter Roleplay. We'd love to see some of you guys here. And of course, we are sponsored today by FancyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Go and check that goes out. The demo version is free to download on Steam or from their website. Wellinggames.co.uk is the go-to destination to get all of your tabletop war games, board games, and more, up to 20% off the retail value. And of course, when we get 20 retweets on this tweet, tabletoploot.com, give away a set of dice to you guys there in the chat. So if you haven't got a retweeted, go ahead and get on it and be in for a chance to win some dice. Last but not least, you can donate to affect the game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and oh so much worse. So have fun of it, and let's get into today's episode. After just a quick recap of what happened last week, the party were back in England, and they were haunted by the thing in the fog, some invisible, unknowable horror, which tried to kill all of them after they got into a very drunken night out in London. They all managed to survive and escape with their lives, though Inspector James Barrington of the Metropolitan Police was looking into the case and had a brief conversation with the party in which he really insisted on knowing what was up, but he suspected that they may have just gotten drunk and driven a car into the the apartment of Lucy and Ernest. Nonetheless, the party have decided to press on with some of their investigations now that they know they're being tracked and hunted. It seems like they are the ones being tracked, but they weren't sure. Perhaps the thing in the fog was out for someone else, for someone else's blood. They don't know. But either way, today they got a couple of things on their agenda. The first of which is to go and meet with Mr. Edward Gavigan of the Penhew Foundation. Marcus, Catherine, and Lucian are going to be off this morning to west side of London to meet Mr. Gavigan, asking some questions, seeing as he seems to be connected somehow to, first of all, Jackson Elias, who, of course, died in New York, and he had the Penhew Foundation stub card, and they're going to ask him what he may know about cult activities in London and things of that nature. So let's kick things off. Where exactly did we leave things? I wasn't clever enough to go back and watch the very last of the episode.
We basically came back to my flat, I think, and we were talking to Inspector... what was his name? Inspector...
James Barrington.
James Barrington.
Yes.
Yeah, we survived the night. We went to the pub. We went back to Lucian's place.
Now we're off.
To,
in short, it's fine.
Check in the place before we had our meeting with Mr. Edward Gavigan, as we were really curious if anybody else was murdered on that street, if it was just almost us.
Yeah, it seems like just you. Cool. So we'll say that Tennessee will drive in there. Koskov's off. He's got some business meetings to see to that you suspect are obviously just armaments that he's going to try and ply either to criminal gangs such as the Irish mob that Catherine's brother has been open to, or perhaps even the British government themselves that some of you guys are working with. So
why not both, he would say.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how often the two go hand in hand. So you guys will arrive after about, I don't know, let's call it an hour or so travel through London this morning. You've managed to get some food and maybe some water in order to cool the hangover a little bit, although it's safe to say that the heady mixture of intense terror, running, and alcohol are not a delicious cocktail for a morning. Certainly, as you guys got there to speak with James Barrington, the headaches are sort of starting to dull off on their edge, but they're still definitely there. So the Penhew Foundation itself is in central London on Tottenham Court Road, near the intersection of Boswell and Bailey Streets. It's a high Victorian building, a few stories, and a great ceiling height in the buildings to either side. Altogether, it's grand in scale. It looks like this building's been here for a very long time, and it sort of looks very reputable as well. You can see just parking outside on the busy street that there are people moving within these several different floors. It looks like it's sort of a hive of activity, and you'll also notice that there are trucks and lorries which come through the gates of the building and seem to be unloading and loading shipments off regularly, and then moving along their way down Tottenham Court Road. And this is maybe 2 trucks every 5 to 10 minutes. It's like really regular deliveries, and possibly shipping that they're moving off to another sort of museum. So what you may know about the Penhew Foundation already is if you were to look this up just in a public record, it's safe to say that you guys might have done some reading on this in the meantime, or at least asking around about what is the Penhew Foundation.
I probably definitely did back when I did the first expedition.
Right. So the main function of the foundation is to give grants to scholars undertaking the study of Egyptian history and antiquities. It also works with negotiating permits with Egyptian authorities, assisting with planning expeditions, travel itineraries, and the hiring of local labor. And the foundation's building in London serves to house Egyptian artifacts recovered from the sands of time, as well as acting as a repository of information concerning Egyptian history and the numerous expeditions undertaken in Northeast Africa. on public record, there are about 20 digs in Egypt that have been supported by the foundation. So they're it's like the center for Egyptian scholarly works within London. And so while they do also give grants to other digs, it's primarily Egypt that they are invested and interested in. You guys have called ahead. So as you pull up the car, there's security. They are not armed in any way, but there are guards that are sort of milling around, as one would expect at a museum. Although it's not a public museum, that's worth noting that it's basically just for, like, if you're a scholar or, someone important. Check your names and let you through. Cool. Sorry, my internet's being a dick. Yeah, so you guys got let through. What is the plan? You guys all going in together?
I mean, I guess we were going together. The bit of the problem is it was actually Don who was the main one who wanted to talk.
Tennessee Gray is here, but for all intents and purposes, he's not really here.
He's not. He's here in our hearts.
Yes.
I think he wanted to find out about any. I think he wanted more information on the Peru. Whether they got any information on the Peru expedition,
Basically,
and
all
local,
the things.
Yeah, like if there's any local
activities.
news, cult activities. If there's an expedition planned elsewhere, the usual stuff.
Carlyle Expedition probably too, based on the papers.
Yeah.
Right.
But he didn't like. Doesn't Tennessee not like the Carlyle Expedition because it's not?
He does. So he would probably want info as to, because it monumentally failed in the papers. So I can see him wanting details on how that happened.
Tennessee thinks he's a hack, though. He likes the other guy, the the guy that went through.
Yeah, Fawcett.
Percy Foster, that's it. Fawcett, yeah. So, and just as an asterisk and put a pin in something too, Tom, you are with the two that did not sign the papers and therefore have no type of badges or anything. Yeah,
fine. You're my consultants. It's fine. It's good.
Oh, we make real good consultants.
Yeah. Fine.
I'm waiting for my foreign correspondence stuff. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. We're stuck in England until you get that.
One of the clues that you have from Jackson Elias's murder is that he had the Penhew Foundation cards. That's the first thing that's ever drawn your attention to the Penhew Foundation, is Jackson Elias was somehow involved with them.
And he's
obviously he was investigating cult activities.
Yeah. Maybe there's some shutting of doors here, some bullshit. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Well, we can play it one of two ways. We can play it, hi, we're friends of Mr. Jackson or Jackson Elias, and see if they kill us. Or we can say we're friends of Jackson Elias, and they say, my God, come in, and they share a lot of stuff with us. So I forget, as Greg is old, what happened last time. So I'm for either.
I say we're friends. I say we go for it. Just full on. Go for it. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Why not? It's not like we're two people down or anything. I mean,
I know. In the worst case scenario, we'd just be like, what the British government? Except for those two.
No. Except for these two, they don't.
Except
I'm
for
just here to carry the
66% of
clipboard. I'll be your real nice secretary. Catherine's good at pretending that.
Okay. So, I guess I will head up to. Hang on. Who do we have an appointment with? Who did we set an appointment with? Because it was Don.
Thomas Kinnery. Yes, Edward Gavigan is the man you're meeting, and Thomas Kinnery is his secretary that you spoke with on the phone.
And what was his name? Thomas Kinney.
Kinnery. Now we'll put it in the fantasy grounds.
Thank you.
Kinnery.
Okay. So I guess Lucian is going to step up to the front desk and go to the receptionist and say, hello. We're here for an appointment to see Edward Gavigan. Thomas Kinnery organized the appointment for us.
So as you step into the Penhew Foundation on the ground floor, there are all sorts of people working in this. Basically, first floor is a library. and there are all sorts of people sort of inventorying and identifying books, moving them around. They're also bringing in shipments from some back room that you presume the lorries and trucks are delivering to, and they're bringing out bundles of books, and they're sort of like, they're categorizing and that sort of thing from these book deliveries that it seems like the trucks have been delivering from out back. So it's a kind of hubbub. There are maybe like 20 people who are working in here at this time, and there are telephones ringing and calling, and Thomas Kinnery quickly identifies himself as the secretary at the door as you enter in. He's a man in his 50s with slick back hair, wears a suit, and seems polite enough. And he says, yes, very well, this was on government business, was it not?
Absolutely, yes.
Very good. Well, Mr. Gavigan is upstairs. Let me show you to his room.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So as you step upstairs, it's a wooden staircase that leads upwards. And if you've ever been to like like the really old part of a university with these big old wooden floors and these doors that have placards on them with ancient scholars' names, and these rooms are named after them, and inside are people quietly speaking and poring over books. This is the kind of situation that you find yourselves in down here. The floorboards creak with age, but are clearly, beautiful in nature. And eventually you come to the end of the hallway, which is Edward Gavigan, and he is the director. So Thomas Kinnery turns and says, Mr. Gavigan will be with you in a moment. Please.
Thank you.
And there's like benches on here. It's like so big that they have benches rather than seats, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Just to like wait outside, and Thomas Kinnery leaves.
Okay. Lucian will take a seat.
Okay.
And he'll go to the Jordans and say, if there's anything you wish to ask him while we're in there, please don't hesitate. I'll ask him, basic stuff, I suppose. Is there anything, any questions you would want to ask?
Will, did I get an answer back from my foreign correspondence credentials? Have I gotten anything back to
you
say
haven't
that
yet. So you sent it yesterday morning.
As soon as we got off the
you were
ship.
drunk and passed out, and then you were at the pub, and now you're here. So like you may be expecting a response later today, but it's still like 10 a.m. or something. So you haven't heard back yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then he would basically say, technically, any questions that I would ask for them to be of official nature would require you to speak them. So if something comes around, I will funnel it through you, my friend.
Okay, but they don't need to know that you're not actually official government. They haven't checked any IDs or anything like that, so feel free to talk whenever.
My friend, the way things have been going with us, it's only a matter of time before we are in some type of lockup, getting beaten up, or this very moment comes back to haunt us because I indeed asked questions. So
My black eye just tailed.
Oh,
Still got
yes.
this.
let's try it by the book, shall we?
Very well, very well. In that case, as a government official, I hereby recruit you two as consultants working for Her Majesty's government, which you can end whenever you wish.
This seems like another one of those moments that we will look back on and say, this was a terrible idea. It didn't work. Nothing was official, yet we went with it. Let's just try to keep things as correct as possible.
It's like how you have to file your taxes, you just don't have to pay them. That's
it. That's exactly.
you file.
So you just gotta file. I'll take notes for you. And if we have something to relay, I'll scribble it down for you.
That or just whisper in my ear, one or the other. It's fine.
Okay, so a few moments later, the door opens, and we have Staffan back with us. Welcome back, Staffan. And they see Mr. Edward Gavigan before them. And Edward, why don't you introduce yourself?
Ah, Dr. Ernest, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, indeed, a pleasure and a privilege to be able to welcome you here to the esteemed halls of the Penhew Foundation. Please, do come inside and take a seat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And he'll enter, extend his hand to shake it, and head in and take a seat.
Okay. Can everybody roll me a spot hidden roll as you enter?
God damn it! It's already started.
The walls are moving. No.
Nope. I see Jack. Oh,
That's an extreme success.
Wow.
I failed.
Wow.
I'm ready.
Regular success.
So both of you two identify that in the floor of the far right-hand side of the room, there is a modern safe built into one corner. The door is slightly ajar. Looks like he may have forgotten to have locked it.
Oh God! Don't tell him that.
It's a shame you didn't see it.
I know.
Other than that, though, the office is, well furnished.
Unlike
With
you,
my
I don't
super
automatically
extreme-
search for safes.
Can I get a glimpse of anything that's in the safe?
You can't.
Okay.
You would have to
I
open
gotta
it up.
try. Okay.
I'm gonna take a time out real quick before we start talking. I feel that this is a setup that there's always been
100%
set up. I just got done saying that the Jordans were going to do everything above board, and we walk in and it's like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
here is that dangly carrot that you can't say no to.
And only you two
Greg.
have seen it.
Yeah.
It's like I've been
only
playing with you
Greg
guys for like
and
2 years, and I know what shit you get up to. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, Greg Lindy, you know those things you can't resist? There's going to be a string of them throughout this episode. So, anyway, as you were.
So you come into the office. It's beautiful,
Yes, I
lovely
take a
desk,
seat.
chair set out for you guys, and like decanters of fancy-looking alcohol, etc.
So yes, Edward goes and sits down in one of those classically super comfortable, well-worn leather armchairs that probably has half of the National Forest of Brazil involved in building it.
Yes.
And gestures to the tray and says, "Oh, please do help yourselves to tea or sherry or whatever Kinnery has managed to put in the decanter today. Seems to be a game we play. Would you care for some snuff?"
Not for me, thank you. I gave that up quite a while ago.
Oh, I hope you don't mind if I do.
No, please
Yes.
go ahead. And as he does that, he's going to go over and pour himself some brandy or was it shandy? You said it was.
There's probably some sherry there. There's definitely a
Sherry.
brandy decanter.
Brandy. And he'll turn to the Jordans and would either of you like?
Let me take care of that, doctor. You sit down. I'll serve everyone.
Oh,
Catherine,
thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you.
When there's that quick moment when Catherine passes by Marcus, and Marcus will just make eye contact and say, whisper, safe.
It's already there. Catherine will just give kind of like a little wink to Marcus as she walks by. Of course, dear, sherry for you. And she'll kind of just, pour everyone their drink of choice, being the housewife hostess. Well, can I, get a good layout of the room as she's doing so.
The safe is like nicely tucked away in the corner. It's only because you've got a trained eye like you would have spotted it in the first place, and you can see where a rug would cover it up. It just hasn't been folded over properly, so the corner is slightly turned up where it's seen use.
Okay.
And you can spot the safe in there. Aside from that, there's a big window behind Gavigan that you can see out into the rest of London, Tottenham Court Road.
Now, is the safe behind Gavigan or in front? Like in the
behind and to his side, I guess. Yeah.
And where's the drink table? Is that behind as well?
Let's say that the drink table is on the other side of the room, so it's not close to the safe.
Not close to the safe. All right. So she'll just establish her presence as kind of just serving the drinks, and so when she moves around the room later, it won't seem that obvious or conspicuous. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gavigan, thank you so much for seeing us. I hope we haven't put you out at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Glad for the company.
Yes, absolutely. And I must compliment you on your wonderful office. It is truly remarkable. Did you do it yourself?
No. It came with the building, as it were. The foundation did take a while to find its offices. Oh dear.
Is there a problem?
Well, please do excuse me for just one moment. One can never be too careful with these things, and apparently I'm getting forgetful in my old age.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Wanders back and closes up the safe door and pushes the carpet back over and says, yes, sorry about that. Forget my own head next.
Yes. It comes to us all, I'm afraid. It comes to us all. Yes, the reasoning for me being here. You see, we have an acquaintance called Jackson Elias. Well, let's say we had an acquaintance called Jackson Elias, who recently has been in contact with your organization in regards to certain things. In regards to what we're doing, we would like to see if there's any information you can divulge that Mr. Elias and yourselves discussed.
Elias. Yes. The American gentleman.
That's it.
Yes, he did contact us some while ago and was interested in doing a piece on the foundation for some of the more gutter pieces of press stateside, but he happened to be in London, and we were able to have a discussion whilst he was over here. Last I'd heard, he had returned to the States.
Yes, he did. Yes. I don't suppose you would be willing to divulge what you discussed, or when the meeting took place.
Since I imagined that by now he would have published his piece, that shouldn't be an issue. He was interested in the work of the foundation, particularly in regards to its sponsorship of excavatory work in the province of Egypt, and in particularly as regards the Carlyle Expedition, since that's apparently what everybody is talking about.
Of course. We have just recently learned of the terrible tragedy of the expedition that went out there. Could you shine any more light on that? Is there anything else that you know? We have only seen what has been written in the papers, but I'm sure you could divulge a bit more light onto that.
Well, yes, it was a tragic end. not least because of the information that was sadly lost as a result.
Yes.
The Sir Aubrey had, of course, basically approached the Foundation some while back, having come into possession of what seemed like material facts along the lines that there was a potentially a sorceress pharaoh during a particularly shady period in the switch over from the young to the middle kingdoms that had hitherto not seen the light of civilized day. Would help to fill in the gap in that era. Unfortunately, it turned out that the lady who was supplying said information was perhaps
A phony?
less than honest, not exactly a gentleman.
Right. What was her name? If you wouldn't mind, what was her name? Just so we can avoid of her,
indeed.
Of course.
So I don't think that Gavagan ever knew her name.
No. Yeah, unfortunately, all I know is that she is, or was, of obvious African extraction.
Right, I see.
When she was seen in Sir Aubrey's company. But in Cairo, apparently, she absconded with the full £3,500 treasury of the expedition.
My! So was she part of the expedition? As they say, she was part of the expedition, and then she went missing.
She did follow along in the guise of a personal assistant to young Carlyle. Yes, young Carlyle unfortunately had a tendency not to judge personalities too well.
I see. A
But an
dangerous
engaging chap.
trip. Yes, I'm sure. Is there anything else? I mean, has there been any other?
There was. I mean, that was essentially the start of the chain of events that would have led to the expedition's eventual demise. Following the unfortunate loss of their funds, and with the realization that it was going to take the Foundation some while to be able to re-equip and make sure that they were able to provide salaries for laborers and all those things that apparently go into these expeditions.
Oh, absolutely.
You would not believe some of the expense reports we see.
Quick
Traveling the world.
sidebar. Marcus, on your psychology check, he's telling you the truth. Please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we believe that it was the photographer.
Photographer, interesting.
Yes, Miss Hypatia Masters, who came up with the idea that the group head into the Kenyan highlands, the north slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro and so forth, the great gift to the former queen. In that she had, as part of the expedition, acquired some new lenses, and she was keen to go and see what the wildlife out there would look like through them.
Oh, I bet.
Apparently, for reasons that remain undiscovered. Although, in our line of business, of course, no reason ever lies undiscovered forever. They ended up departing from the highlands into the lower jungles, and as I'm sure your colleagues are aware, that is a less than salutary place to find yourself if you don't happen to be one of the natives.
I can
or
imagine.
Perhaps even if you do.
I mean, at that point, Lucian will turn to Marcus to kind of get confirmation, because if anyone knows about that, Marcus would. You know.
He would just nod. Everything that Marcus has heard so far checks out.
Okay. Right. Very, very interesting. This is very, very, very interesting. Mr. Gavigan, have you read the news lately about these ghastly murders that are happening rather local?
Oh, I tend not to concern myself with the more gutter elements of the press.
I understand.
Like the predilections of government, they're serve more to placate the populace than driving the true fortunes of empire.
Ah, yes, indeed. What about Loke? Are there any expeditions expected rather soon, or is it more dried up on the expeditions due to the bad press of the Carlyle Expedition?
I've heard somebody mention to the effect that there is no such thing as a bad press, and given how busy we are, I would tend to lend some credence to that phrase. No, we have 3 separate expeditions currently under planning towards the Egyptian Protectorate. It'll be some while before they get underway. But,
naturally.
It's especially given the unfortunate loss of most of the Carlyle Expedition's paperwork in the massacre, in that they had the paperwork with them in Kenya, as opposed to having left it at the expedition headquarters back in Cairo, as one maybe would have thought would have been sensible. But, well, yes, Carlyle was a good man, but sensible was not quite his
yes,
middle name.
Absolutely.
But,
so there is an expedition to recover the lost expedition, or is that basically being forgotten now?
Not as yet. There are some rival expeditions essentially forming to go out and carry on Sir Aubrey's work around Gaza and the areas adjacent, since those digs are fairly well documented and really just waiting for somebody to step in and repatriate the requisite finds and knowledge that's out there. I mean, we have a small selection of the better goods from Sir Aubrey's digs up here in the building. In fact, that we're currently in discussions with the authorities, both out in provincial Cairo as well as here at the British Museum, about disposing of some of the larger items, since
I see.
frankly this building doesn't quite have what it takes to hold them.
Of course. Because I mean, as we entered, we saw a lot of lorries coming and going. I mean, is that what contains all these artifacts that's going to and fro from the building to the museums? I mean,
Indeed.
indeed. So, Mr. Gavigan, don't want to take too much more of your time, but would you happen to know an M. Warren Bezard?
Warren Bezard. I'm afraid, sir, that the name does not ring any bells for me.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Just thought I'd ask. He was in correspondence with Mr. Carlyle, but never mind. I think that's it. Will, was there was there pieces of art on the wall outside of his office? You know, as I came.
There are pieces of artwork in the corridor which are mostly Egyptian in nature. In this room, there aren't pieces of artwork up there.
So, Mr. Gavin, before we go, I'm a bit of a connoisseur to the Egyptian arts. I was wondering, would you mind telling me about the art just outside of your office? It would very much fascinate me in learning about it, where it came from, the meaning behind it.
Oh, not at all. Be happy to, old boy. Be happy to.
Fantastic. Catherine, while we just go out there, would you mind just pouring me another drink?
Oh, certainly.
Oh, thank you. And I'm sure Mr. Jordan can assist you with that. So after you, Mr. Gavigan.
Oh, no, quite all right. Yes. What is out here is I'm sure you're aware. Yes.
Gavigan goes into a long-winded explanation of.
That's it. And I make sure the door is somewhat close. See, and I try and keep him talking and talking and talking.
Okay, so you will. Yeah, you've got him on his favorite topic, right? And he's a historian,
Brilliant.
so
he'll 5 minutes.
Talk for a little while.
It's about as dry and dusty as the painting, frankly.
So let's see. If you're going over the safe, correct?
I mean,
This is an awful idea, but yes.
hey,
Just
I'm not
something
saying
that
do
safe-
it. I'm just giving you the opportunity to do it.
to.
You're the one pulling the
It's
trigger.
me and Greg. We're gonna open this.
You open it up, and inside there is the only thing inside the safe is a packet of white £1 notes. Total value £100, about $500.
We don't need this.
Can I look? Let's see if there's any.
Can we look
secret
through the
compartments
notes?
in the safe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
check
well,
the
Marcus
back,
looks
check
through the notes.
side.
Can I see if there's like a false bottom in the safe?
Nothing of interest is within the safe or within the packet, aside from the money.
Well, that's disappointing.
Okay,
It's just funny.
it seems as if this was all a trick. Desk drawer, pulling out the main desk drawer where it
Put the
seems to
money
me that
back,
Gavigan would be a guy. Yeah.
Smooth the rug back over.
It seems to me that Gavigan would be a catch-all for so he's going for that.
The desk drawer pulling it out, there's a couple of things. There is a photograph in a silver frame which depicts a 3-story country mansion, and there is a telegram as well, which I can push you here in a couple of seconds.
And
The two
then
things
I'll
within
mix
the desk drawer.
everybody up some more drinks while Marcus is looking through the desk drawer. I did the safe.
Okay. And the telegram, if I can get this to you here in a sec.
Make it an old-fashioned.
And outside, there's the chatter of more and more explanation about Egypt, etc. Here it is.
I think Twitch is being twitchy too, so just
The Twitch is always twitchy. I was having a lot of twitching last night, so.
Gotcha. All right, that got replaced.
Make an
And
old-fashioned, some brandy. Just, one on the
There you go.
rocks, but only one rock, because you don't want to mix good brandy with too much ice. So,
and I'll switch over here. If it loads.
I
It's
love
loading on
it.
your side.
No, it's not. There's so much information
Fantastic.
here.
What? This is the best telegram I've ever read.
Wow, it's so
Balls.
in-depth and detailed.
It's
Okay,
blank.
I
My
will.
God.
Stop it.
Written
All
in
right, well,
invisible
Pastor
ink.
Grounds doesn't want to. Wait for me. We'll switch back.
Why
I'll
not?
read it out to you,
Why not behind
and you can do it this way. Okay, it reads: November 6, 1924, Giza. Sorry, 1924. Giza dig well. Stop. All as planned. Stop. Work apace at Mycenaris. Stop. And Mycenaris is spelt. Mycenaris is spelled like
My
that.
sinner is.
Stop.
All right.
Thank you for your assistance. Most helpful. Stop. Dr. H. Clive. That's what the telegram reads. And a quick look at the photograph. If you closely inspect the image, the name Miser House can be seen in tiny letters at the bottom right. Miser, M-I-S-R, or Miser, I guess.
I know, so much note taking.
So you, it still seems like Gavigan outside is still preoccupied with Lucy. Is there anything else you guys are doing?
There's just the desk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just got. I mean, can we do like a once over, a pat down,
Sure,
can we
yeah.
shake this room down? Can we?
Yep. Give me a spot hidden.
Yeah. No. I don't. Marcus does.
Yes.
Okay. The Marcus on a spot hidden in the central closet sitting against the north wall. There are signs that it moves, and there is like scratched woodwork where you can see something is like this closet is regularly moved back and forth. There's a secret door there, is your suspicion. However, you know that this would be noisy and loud to open. Gavigan's going to hear that.
This is my first secret door at Cthulhu ever! Yay!
Yay!
Okay. Everyone else has always found them, but me.
I know.
All
I'm so
right.
proud of you.
Thank you. Thank God Don and Pruitt weren't here to ruin it. He would point it out to Catherine. Look, I found a secret door.
I'm so proud of you, dear. It's your first one.
Around this time, Gavigan,
And I'll give him his drink.
Yeah.
Gavigan and Lucian are returning.
Yeah,
keep
as
that
I'm
in
going to
mind
be
for later.
louder as we're returning.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, that was truly fascinating.
Catherine's ready.
Absolutely. And they enter.
But, and you come in and Catherine's just, we'll have to explore that more later. We've got company. As if they were being real flirty while they were gone, is all.
I mean, the look on Lucian's face is, oh God. This is like so inappropriate behavior in someone else's office. It's just not British. So.
And then she's like, oh, excuse me, I made you another drink, Mr. Gaffigan, sir.
Oh, why, thank you, dear. Most kind, most kind.
There's...
We'll.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we'll get out of your hair now, Mr. Gavigan. Sorry, just one last thing. You wouldn't happen to know a location in London called the Street of Jackals, would you? You know, just passing through.
No, there is of course the hallway of Anubis in the tomb of Metakakeku. that was discovered by Sir Aubrey about 3 years back, but I presume that's not what you're referring to.
No, not quite. But thank you so much for your time, Mr. Gavion. It has been most helpful.
Oh,
I just had a quick question before we leave.
Yes.
You mentioned that a lot of the artifacts are being taken to museum. I love museums myself personally, and was wondering which museum are most of them being located to, so I could take a visit.
Mostly, the smaller items and some of the wall art we are keeping here. The larger items and some of the pieces that require more careful restoration, we would normally take to the estates of the British Museum down in Aldwych.
Were there any, just out of curiosity, were there any artifacts just recovered from the Carlyle Expedition at all? Or were all of them lost? There was no...
There was a small amount of correspondence that was left in the hotel in Cairo that we have, that we're keeping essentially in care of their respective descendants.
Of course.
Wouldn't want that sort of thing to make its way out into the press.
No, of course not. Of course not, no.
But other than that, unfortunately, they had with them pretty much everything when they went missing.
Of course. I don't suppose we could see those correspondence, could we? It could be...
I'm afraid I, in good honor, couldn't show those papers.
Perfectly understandable.
Personal
of course.
Documentations, those sort of things.
Yes.
Nothing that I'm sure you would be interested in. However, good, dear King. Yes, I really must apologize. Time does rather fly when one is having such wonderful company, but I am due for a meeting uptown.
Of course. Sorry.
Some of these gentlemen from the palace.
There's a knock on the door, and Thomas Kinnery is, excuse me, gentlemen, but Mr. Gavigan is needed elsewhere.
Yes, of course. Apologies for taking so much of your time. You have been most helpful, Mr. Gavigan. And he extends his hand to shake it once more.
Indeed. We'll shake, bow. Shake it with... Yes, Kinnery. I'm well aware of that now. I'll be out shortly.
Pretty good, sir. And as Kinnery leads the three of you outside, he says, "May I see you out, or would you like a tour of the exhibition hall before you leave?"
He looks to the other two.
A tour might be nice.
Absolutely. If please lead the way.
Sounds splendid.
He sends
We
you
never
up
got the
another
tour
flight of
last time. I'm
stairs.
getting it this time, dang it.
Yeah.
He leads you up the stairs, and in this exhibition hall are pieces in glass cabinets from Egypt, basically. And so there are, there's like 50 pieces in here from inscribed shards, broken pots, noseless statues, bas-reliefs of sleek cats, men and ladies wearing thin linen. As you might spend 20 minutes in here. There's nothing of particular note that interests you around
Nothing
here. It's sort of like if you
tongue or something like that.
nothing strikes you.
Could we have left Catherine's purse in Edward's office?
Roll me a luck roll, Catherine.
Oh.
Yeah, good.
Seeing as we're like retro.
Oh, I don't know if that's a
if you
good
remember-
thing there, Mr. Marcus, sir. Oh my gosh, I succeed!
No, don't say that you remember to do that.
Okay. Oh, I can't believe that.
So I'm assuming we've finished the tour, and I mean, I
Yes,
don't
and
think
Kinnery
there's
says,
nothing that
well, as you
Lucian
can
wants to do.
Yeah, as you can see, there are many very interesting pieces here. If you find any on any expeditions of your own, then be sure to be in touch. But I'm afraid Mr. Gavin must leave shortly, and so I must ask you to leave as well.
Of course. Thank you so much for your
I
time.
believe I must have misplaced my purse and left it in his office. I'm terribly sorry. I could just run up and get it real quick, if it's not too much trouble.
Let's have a smoke.
Oh, a charm? Oh no.
Come on.
Can I assist? Can I assist? Marcus is going to come in and pull out, a fine clip of cigarettes. You should have a smoke while you're waiting for your boss.
Alrighty.
Oh, hell yeah!
Lovely.
Teamwork.
Oh, you are on fire.
That's a straight success on a charm.
Fucking rolls today.
My God.
Thank for the sub. Man, yeah, no. Kinnery is like, well, I am partial to a smoke, and so he straights up a cigarette with Marcus and Lucian. While Catherine,
I'll be back
you run
in a
back
jiff.
into Gavigan's room, who's at this point has left the office. However, the office door is locked now. You see him going down the end of the hallway.
I'm gonna roll a locksmith check.
Let's do it.
Oh, no.
What are these rolls? Holy shit.
That's an extreme success, Will.
My God, it pops open, and as if it were never locked. A little kick goes in there, and you're back into his office.
Close it behind me. I'm gonna open up this secret door.
All right. The door to this. Okay, so you slide open the cabinet, the closet basically. You slide it away on its hinges, and there is a door there, and the door is locked when you try it.
Well, I'm gonna try to locksmith this again.
Alrighty.
That's a success.
Yep. Okay. This door, as you open it up, leads to a storage room by the looks of things. It's old, it's musty in here, and you see inside boxes, crates, old furniture, rolled up rugs, and so on that fill the dusty space, and it kind of makes you sneeze with a thin layer of dust. Clearly this place hasn't been touched in a very long time. And it would probably be quite noisy to move through here with all the boxes that are, there's no path through. You'd have to start climbing, climbing through.
Okay.
There is a... that being said, it's clear where one would walk through here. There's been like a sort of a passage of boxes. You'd have to jump up onto them, but someone's probably come through here before.
Yeah, I want to kind of try to go on that path that looks like it's been traversed before.
Yeah. You start moving through the heavy boxes, which... Yeah. You can roll me a stealth check.
Sure. That's a success.
Nice. Yeah, you managed to work your way through fairly swiftly and quietly along these boxes. And as you do so, you come to the end of this storage room where you see lying on its back on the floor at the rear of a room an empty mummy case. Sarcophagus, which is surrounded by various crates and boxes, creating a sort of barrier to the rest of the room. The top of the mummy case is fairly free of dust and somewhat warm.
And it's empty?
It's it's slightly open, and you can see that there's nothing inside.
Okay. Does it look like something came out of the mummy case and moved out, or someone moved in? Like are there like it's because it's real dusty in here. Does it look like there's hands on the side that opened it up, like from this angle, like fingerprints this way or handprints this way?
There are no handprints on it, but you could open it up from this way. It doesn't open up. You wouldn't have to lean across and get it open. You could prop it up from this way.
Are there any weapons in here, like a sword or something I could kind of flip it open with?
No swords, but or anything that you could really prop it open with. But clearly hand, held.
Okay. Oh, I got a bad feeling about this. A real bad feeling, but I'm just gonna, with a book, anything that's not her directly opening it, because she's kind of freaked out by this after having just learned the spell that she learned. She's gonna just kind of like, she'd probably pull the knife out from her purse, actually, and kind of like creak it open a little bit more to peek inside. Because if this is the only thing that's been traveled to in the room, that strikes her as odd.
As you open it up, it yawns and creaks, and dust emanates from within. And you see that it's not entirely hollow, because below it are a set of stairs, as you open it up from within the case, that lead downwards.
Do they look like they turn at all? Or are they just straight down?
Straight down.
Catherine's not stupid. She's not going down there alone. But she is going to make a mental note of this. And what's the exterior of the building look like, Will? Just out of curiosity.
It's Victorian, large, heavy
Victorian.
walls. Doesn't look like
Excellent.
kerosene would car as a viable option.
Oh, no,
There's also a
like,
gate.
That's fine. Yeah. She's just gonna take a quick peek down there. It's real dark, though, isn't it? This is so bad! Why are we
Very,
doing this?
very dark down there. Yes.
Alright, just a peek. Just a peek. Is there like a light? Is there like a torch nearby?
Nope.
Nope. Great. Perfect. I'm gonna buy a flashlight and stick it in my purse after today. If I'm not gonna die.
Okay. So you start to head down into this lower basement,
Oh!
and the steps are cold and dark, and it's difficult to see. You start having to feel your way around slowly and hesitantly through the dark. It starts to smell pretty bad once you are getting lower down here as well.
Back up. Back up.
Smells of burnt hair.
Nope. Out. Out. I'm out, and I close the coffin behind me. Out so fast. Close that coffin. Out. Close the door. Relock it. Push the thing back in front. I will, however, unlock a window on the exterior. Window.
You run out, you scream, slam the coffin, run back up, close the
screaming.
door, silently scream, and close the door to Gavigan's. You leave a window open, cut to Gavigan's, and when you get outside,
I'll unlock a window so that way if I want to get back in later, I have an in, and then I'll have my purse.
Outside, there's a security guard who's sort of like looking at you strangely. Did you just? It's Mr. Gavigan's office.
Oh, yes, I left my purse in there. I have his name. Mr. Kinnery said I could pop back up and get it real quick.
All right. Let's go see him.
Thank you.
So the guard comes with you to check your story, and when Kinnery, somewhat embarrassedly, admits that he was there smoking a cigarette, the guard leaves you alone. And Kinnery sort of puts out the cigarette at this point and is like, I really think I ought to get back to my job now. Well, this has been very enjoyable.
Terribly sorry about that. Thank you for the tour. We'll greatly appreciative.
Of course.
Entertaining. Thank you. And
so he's going to start leading you out. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! I just thought of the worst thing that could have happened to Catherine. She get locked in because there's no way.
I know. I was like,
no way when those get locked out from the outside. I thought, oh god, this is it. Oh god. Oh,
Do you guys head outside?
Deal, Lindy. Balls of
Yes.
Back to the car. All the lorries are there making deliveries again, and you're back out onto Tottenham Court Road. As far away as it could seem to be from something scary and horrible.
I'm gonna, as soon as we're into the car, opened that secret. The office was locked, not a problem. Got in, secret door was locked, not a problem. Got in, found a sarcophagus covered in dust. It looks like someone's been walking to and from a little bit. Opened it up, secret set of stairs going down into like second basement or something. Went down the stairs a little bit, smelled that burnt hair smell we had the other night. noped out. I didn't think it was pitch black down there, too. I didn't have a torch. We're going to buy one from my purse today. Marcus, just, that's not happening again.
Why did you go down there by yourself? Terrible idea.
It was just a peek.
Did you do that again?
Yes, I must echo your husband, Catherine. That was very, very risky. I mean, what if something had happened we wouldn't have known?
Well, you would have known something had happened if I never came back. But I'll take this in mind, and I won't do it. I won't do it again.
I see. Very good.
Okay, at this point, Stefan, thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seven.
We'll see you soon, my friend. Do you want to do a quick sign off there?
Sure. Stefan TJ, you can find me by that name pretty much anywhere. 2 to 5 on a Wednesday, where better to be, whether we're out in chat making life difficult for in here, or whether we're in here making life difficult for chat.
Thanks so much, Stefan, and we can't wait to see you again, my friend. Awesome. Alrighty, friends. So feel free to carry on there.
So,
yes.
right. So let's backtrack on what we have learned.
I think the
Or
thing
what
is
are
living in his
next?
basement.
Can I? This might seem odd and a strange thing. I need a map. I need a map of London.
Oh, good, we'll go to a general store, we'll get a map of London and me a torch. This is perfect.
You know,
They have one in this
they have
book somewhere.
battery-powered lights now. You don't have
Yes,
to.
well that's the British term flashlight, Greg.
I understand that, but we're not fucking British.
Catherine's
I think-
Irish, she'd say torch.
I don't know if they say it in Ireland. I'd have to ask someone who's Irish if they do.
Alright, well we'll do that. We'll do that.
Well,
Thanks,
ask someone who's Irish what they call a torch.
or
What do you call
flashlight.
this?
What do you call this?
What is this? It's the greatest
We call it
survey ever
light
conducted. Are you from Ireland? What do you call this? We just go around yelling at people.
Oh, God. The reason I want a map is because I want. This is gonna sound really strange, and practically impossible. But let's give it a go. In comparison to my location of my apartment and the location of the Penhew Foundation, the direction of where this giant thing was coming from, was it generally going towards
Oh
the
yeah.
Penhew Foundation? Basically, what I'm trying to figure out is whether or not it was going or coming from that, meaning it could be a base
Like what
bit
direction
where
on the
it's
street?
at.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems very difficult because London isn't a grid, it's just like a splat on the
It's a mess.
landscape.
Yeah.
It's a complete diabolical mess. But, I mean, was it going in the general vicinity of the Penhew, basically? Just a general, like it was going east and the Penhew Foundation is east or north?
Yeah, if you were to like get a map and like draw a line
Yeah.
from your place to the Penhew Foundation, which is to say, draw a map off across most of London,
Yeah.
because you're in like Chelsea and it's like Tottenham
I'm in
Court Road.
Chelsea, yeah. Yeah. Which is north, I think.
The direction in which it was first traveling, according to a very drunk Marcus, it would have been coming from the Penhew Foundation.
Okay.
But that's also like not very good
Yeah.
science, or like it's not clear. It's like
Well, it gives us a
could-
thing.
I mean,
it could have been going that way.
Yeah.
But also, if it had taken another way, it would have been coming from the other end of the
Yeah.
street, and then it would have been going to the Penhew Foundation. So it's like, yeah.
It's just an idea. It's just a thought that's going around his head. Just after
Well, if we see it again, we can keep track
Catherine
of it.
told me, after Catherine told me about.
I'd also like to put little dots for where the Soho murders have taken place on the map.
So we really need to detective this stuff up. We need to get a proper.
Well, I mean,
map
I'm not
of-
really involved, but I figure since, my brother's people are involved, I should at least help you plot it out on this map, Lucian.
Thank you very much. It's quite Nice of you, thank you. So what's next? I think we could. I think there. What was it? There were 3 potential: Mickey Mahoney, which was a journalist, Inspector Barrington, or Miles Shipley, who's the artist. I think that Marcus wants to see Miles Shipley.
I don't believe that there's any worth in going to see an artist. Ever.
I agree.
Mickey Mahoney. That sounds like a good Irish name.
I mean, he was a journalist. Yeah, I mean, if you wish to go see Mickey Mahoney, I think we can do that. He's at the Scoop, I believe. I think it shouldn't be too
Marcus
hard
has
to find
done a
him.
bit of journalism. Maybe he can connect on that point there.
Absolutely. This might be more in your ballpark.
A bit of journalism. Shit. All right. I guess that's
You've
my
got
life's
to step
pursuit,
up.
but fine.
You've got to step up your game, Marcus, according to your wife.
I can't believe you went down that staircase. Should have
Love you, dear.
looked around just a little longer. Okay.
So
Yikes.
we shall go to see Mickey Mahoney, yes, at the Scoop.
Scoop.
Or
Okay. You have the address of the offices of the Scoop, yeah.
Unless, of course, you would prefer one of the others. I mean, perhaps seeing Mr. Barrington would benefit yourself.
Perhaps
Catherine.
we should have more of our actual people working with the law. I mean, Koskov's gone off and done his thing, and Mr. Gray just doesn't seem very talkative today. He's just driving.
He's just driving. Yes, he seems to be staying in the car an awful lot. I mean, I mean, I would like to see what you feel, what you two feel our next step should be.
I'm feeling a little scoopy.
Scoopy? Marcus?
Yes. Scoopy. Sounds fantastic.
Okay. Okay, Tennessee.
Episode title: Scoopy.
To the Scoop.
All right then. So, yes, you head over to the Scoop, which is located on Fleet Street, a shabby building not far from Ludgate Circus. In and out go journalists, reporters, with little pen stubs and cigarettes and London accents. And as you go inside, it's just like a mess of people shouting at each other, telephones ringing, coffees being made, cigarettes being smoked within, and all the while, people furiously trying to get the latest on various lowbrow cases. No one appears to be answering. Like, there's no secretary, there's no one answering the door, there's no receptionist. Everyone is just like busy. It's just like panic. No one's really noticed you walking in.
Yeah.
But you just hear names being shouted like Carlyle. They're obviously. There's one guy saying, "Get me Spider-Man." But mostly it seems to be the buzz revolving around a Carlyle Expedition story that they're just like rushing to get new stories on this big hot news story at the moment.
Lucian's visibly uncomfortable with how loud and crowded this is. He's like,
I just pat him on the shoulder.
I think
Welcome
this
to
is
journalism.
Yes, I think this is more your scene. Please take the lead. He's looking at you.
Marcus is just going to walk in, and we know that this guy writes several articles for The Scoop, and he's featured pretty prominently in their bylines and everything. So he's going to look around the exterior of the pit, the exterior of the pit, to see if he can't find some type of walled office as instead of just a general pit desk.
Right.
If this guy's achieved some type of notoriety, he's got his own walls. So that's what he's going to look for.
Yeah. Absolutely. No one seems to stop you from circling around this building. Indeed, no one seems to really notice any of you as you step around here. And I'll get the cool artwork there from the Scoop. This is what the inside of the Scoop looks like.
I love
this
it.
is what Mickey Mahoney's office looks like when you step into it as well. Mickey himself, as the writing on the wall would suggest, is this big man with a cigar in his mouth, poring over various different sheets and shouting at worried and concerned-looking interns and copywriters within his own office. They don't seem to notice you for a moment until one of the interns taps Mickey To see the older guy with the glasses there in that picture, sort of like taps the Mickey, and he looks up at you. It's like, what? Oh
That
yeah.
picture for your earlier Spider-Man reference. Oh, I just see him looking at this thing right now and going, "How does Parker get these shots?" You know,
Harry Spider-Man.
these are amazing pictures, Parker. How do you get them?
That's all I can picture.
So he
That
grumpily looks up at the group of you. What is it?
Mickey Mahoney.
That's me.
We
Who's
are
asking?
fans. My name is Marcus Jordan. We're fans of your work.
Okay. You got something for me?
No, but wait a minute. Time out for a second. He's been writing about the buckle my shoe stuff, right? That's what he's been doing the.
He hasn't been
get that
reporting
different?
on the buckle my shoe stuff, but he has reported on several deaths, so he may know something about it.
He might know something
right.
about it. And he knows.
He seems like deep into his
Yeah.
work right now. He's not giving you his full attention. He's like
Yeah,
oh,
he's
that's
still
who you are, cool.
James Barrington, apparently, because he refused to comment when asked by the Scoop. So, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
so Marcus. Yeah, Marcus would grab a pen or a fountain pen off of his desk and grab a piece of paper, and he would write 1, 2, buckle my shoe, turn it around, and slide it in front of our guy here, JJ, Triple J.
He takes one look at it and then barks at the rest of his interns. Everyone, get the hell out of here! And they scramble. You've never seen anyone move any faster than these people.
I don't know, I was pretty
Scramble
fast
and
when
run.
I smelled that burnt hair. I was like,
Yeah, it's like they've just got some burnt hair in a creepy underground sarcophagus. And they get the hell out of here. One of them closes the door behind the group of you and says, well, how do you say you were again?
Marcus Jordan. I do foreign correspondence for some of the papers. Perhaps even the
that's
Scoop
right.
here.
Okay, so what do you know about this buckle my shoe business?
We know that it's taking place in Peru several years ago and also seems to be occurring in New York City. But you've had your own problems over here, it would look like.
Yeah, I guess I have, though it's not exactly hot news anymore. The Carlyle Expedition has kind of taken precedence, so I'll give you a couple minutes if you got something good for me. But Carlisle's where it's at right now.
So here's what Marcus is going to do. Everything that they were just told about Carlyle, all of the Penhew Foundation, that is his trade bait to get all the information that our guy here has on the cold case murders or the buckle my shoes. So if you
And
want
also-
Carlyle,
about the monstrous beast up in Lesser Adale, because I think that might be where my other brother's living right now. So, it's crazy.
but I mean, he's going to give him everything. He's going to give him the H. Clive, the Miser House, the shit that was not told to us by. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's the play here. Is it's tit for tat. Yes, we happen to have come across some bit of information about the Carlyle Expedition, fated as it was. Perhaps we could do some professional exchange. What we know about Carlyle, which is plentiful, for your information on these cold murders that no longer share the spotlight.
Huh. Well, that's definitely interesting. I'm not going to ask who your source is. But yeah, I can help you out with something. Why are you interested, if I might ask?
All of your notes. I prefer a journalist's eye to a someone from law enforcement. We journalists find the avenues and the directions and the angles that is lost upon these detectives.
Amen. Especially this Barrington fella. He's not going to share anything with me. No comment, no comment, no comment. I mean, what kind of guy is that to do business with? I give you my notes. I haven't got too much, I have to say. I see if I can dig them out here for you. And anything else I can find or I know, feel free to pick my brains. And he starts going, rifling through this mess of papers in his desk, trying to find relevant notes for you.
On the same card, he will flip over that he wrote, 1, 2, buckle my shoe. He's going to write down everything that they heard from the Penhew Foundation, including Hypatia Masters, the photographer, everything that he can think of, H. Clive, the Miser House, the 3-story mansion picture.
Mickey's eyes go wide with like all of this stuff. It's salacious, like the idea that there's this woman who's like influenced Roger Carlyle's decisions. Maybe she's responsible for his death. All of these things immediately are sparking off, and you can tell within the simple mind of me only this is salacious and excellent gossip. Like he's going to blow out of proportion.
Yep.
And he says, so he's like smiling, he's happy. It's been an hour where you've told him all of this. He's gotten drinks in and cigars for all of you. Like, you're his new best friends. And he says, you're not the first ones to come in here asking me about these cases. There was another guy, Jackson Elias. American. Came in here, not so long ago, asking me about some of these ones as well, and I remember digging them out for him at the same time.
Not so long ago. What, a week? A month?
Oh, no. Months ago now. He said he was going off to New York afterwards. Follow up some more leads, that kind of thing. And I gave him the same things to look into here. A couple of them caught his eye, these same ones. I don't know if he followed up on any of the stories or not, but he seemed desperate. And soon he left for New York. But he did one name just stick out to me. He said that he spoke to, seeing as we're in the spirit of sharing information freely, you and I. He had a meeting with a foundation. What do they call it? Bunch of smartsy-artsy types. Penhew.
Penhew Foundation.
That's the one. And he digs out a card of the Penhew Foundation and like slams it down on the table. That's their number if you want to call them up. I tried to get through, but they're not going to give an interview for a guy like me, you know?
Of course.
Yeah. He writes down the name Gavigan on the back of the card and slides it back to him. I never reveal his source verbally.
I appreciate that. So, you know this Elias fella then?
He's no longer among the living, unfortunately.
Knew him. Briefly.
No shit. How'd he die?
Badly.
In New York.
Oh. That's not good to hear. He did seem like he was running from something, I have to say. Struck me as a kind of guy that had something to hide.
Well, he was caught and it was found. He was ritualistically murdered, which is something that interests us because of the ritualism associated with this buckle my shoe.
Yeah. You know, the reason I knew that was something is when Barrington and the rest of the police prevented me from writing it in the papers. Stopped us from writing anything about it. They were scared. I could see it in his eyes. That Barrington fella, he's fucking terrified. Whatever he'd seen or whatever they found at those crime scenes. I've never seen the guy so rattled. He had the same look in his eyes as Elias did before he left. Huh. That's fucking sad to hear. Stuff's happening in New York as well, then, huh?
It is.
Sounds like there might be a story in that. especially with this Carlyle stuff going on, you know, ritual like Africa,
Definitely
exotic
cult
killings. Yeah.
I'm not one to tell a fellow journalist his business, but my friend, it appears to me that if perhaps some liberties would be taken with certain elements of this tale, it could all be woven together.
It does strike me the same way as well. Although it's not exactly concrete. All we've got is this Elias guy who looked into the same stuff. I don't know if my boss will buy it. You know, maybe if I had this Gavigan on the record about some of this stuff, maybe I could... Or if there was something you could bring me, you know, like papers or transcripts, communications from him and Carlyle. Maybe it mentions one of these Soho killings, you know, and he kind of gives you a wink.
Sure. Well, if we run across anything, of course, in the honor of the spirit of reciprocation, if there's anything that you know about Jackson Elias or any more about these Buckle My Shoe murders or any of these other terrible dealings, including the one up north. Yes. I believe this, and he points to the...
Good.
I was just going to say, he points to the three tiered mansion that seemed to be out in the country, the picture of it. He points to that. Anything involving something with this type of description would also be interesting. Anything we can do to further one another's stories.
Yeah. That place. I did a piece on it at some point. He looks at the piece of writing. Miser House. Miser House. Yes. Essex. That's Gavigan's country house. Right there. And he, pointing towards the picture. It's hidden away. I know why we wrote about it. It's one of the top 10 spookiest places, most haunted locations in England. That's right. God,
fantastic. Let's go.
That's how I first heard of Gavigan. He owns this country estate in Essex. It's tucked away on this creepy little island. And, mist, some fog all about it. And no one ever goes in, no one ever comes out, that kind of thing, Salacious bullshit, but still, the place is pretty creepy, even from that picture right there. Now, it's said that Gavigan got it from this ancient owner who is from foreign lands, Egypt, in fact. And it's all linked back to this creepy pharaoh shit that was going on at the time. It was about the time it was around the time they had dug up one of these pharaohs or whatever, and they say like the curses upon the land, etc. Yeah, good stuff. Might be worth checking out if you want to know something more about Gavigan.
Sounds like a place to go and die. Do we still have the map that we had, our London map? I mean, I'm assuming we didn't just update it, right?
Sure.
Okay, with using a straight edge, and I'm assuming, once again, that this map's not going to encompass the entirety of the region. So is there a way that our good buddy Mahoney here could point to, like, the northern edge of the map where he believes would be the most, like, as the crow flies, route to this mansion or this island?
Isn't it up in the Midlands?
Essex, no.
Is that
Essex? Yeah. Essex is southeast England,
sorry.
so it's not actually that far. It's like a 1920 several-hour drive. It's not in London itself, so it's like in Essex, which is my homeland, a miserable and terrifying place. But basically, like there are. Yeah, it's like the moors sort of deal, in like Sherlock Holmes. In relation to London, at least, it's more countryside. Yeah.
Gotcha. So if we had the square of the map and we indicated the southeast corner, if we said, okay, what would be the if we kept going off the map in this direction and hit the, can we put like a coordinate in there? Could Mahoney do that for us? Like, be like, yeah, if you went right off the map and kept going straight, you'd hit the island.
I mean, he could just give me an address. And
Yeah.
So
we can.
So if you were to head
northeast,
northeast, you would get to Essex from London.
Okay, no,
So
wait.
top
What
right
I'm
hand.
trying to do here is go from the Penhew Foundation to your house, Tom,
Oh,
to
I
see if it's in
what
a
you
straight
mean.
line. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
see.
from his house, if it was just
Gotcha.
passing through on its way to the Penhew Foundation, just
Gotcha.
happened to walk past our cars, and we went out and
Yes,
aggravated
because
it.
remember, Marcus it went past. It went by and kept walking, and then Marcus went out.
And then,
So-
we aggravated it.
I may have caused a lot of problems, but no one else knows that.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, roll me a navigation, to like plot all these points together.
A navigation.
Yeah. Okay,
What's
so
the map?
it's not patently clear to you. Oh damn!
I will pay
Free
free
luck?
luck and succeed on that shit.
Sweet. If you were to draw a line between 3 points, Ernest's house is on the way to the Penhew Foundation in a rough line from
It was
my
all
house.
coincidence. The worst coincidence ever.
If anything, that just solidifies my belief of not going to this house. It's just like, no.
Well, if we're right, it's living in that basement right now. If we go today, I'm kidding. Let's not.
I mean, that house is the monster's summer home. It goes out in the, in the country every so often. After a hard work in the city, it goes out to the country to have a weekend.
It has its invisible hair-smelling kids. And, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just amazed it fit down the sarcophagus because it threw a car. Maybe there's like a back door and it went through there, and this is how, like, I don't know, Gavigan feeds it or something. I don't know. I'm freaked out.
Mickey has like a moment of inspiration when he's thinking about this house. So he looks at Ernest and is like, Ernest, right? You're the guy that had there's a house break-in or something. Ernest, right? Barrington was all over it this morning.
Yes, he was there investigating, yes.
Yeah, that piece came onto my desk, but there was this neighbor, right? I don't know if you heard this yet, but his neighbor saw the car flying up in the air and being thrown around like it was some kind of invisible, scary thing. And obviously, she's probably high or really tired or whatever, but either way, there was something crazy going on there, most likely her. And she said she smelled burnt hair, right? Like really bad smell of burnt hair. I went back, and I remember a piece I did. It's a couple years ago now. And he digs it up from his newspaper desk.
It almost happened.
And who would like to read this one out?
Go on,
I'll
man.
read
Right there. Go on.
Glasgow resident Mr. Alan McGann had an unwelcome encounter with a monster of darkness while making his way home last October. On hearing wails and cries, a police officer arrived to find Mr. McGann in distress and moved him to the local station where he was able to give a statement. It was like turning suddenly, knowing something was there, only to find nothing. A nothing possesses hideous life. Nothing possessing hideous life. The dank smell of the fog was replaced by the foul stench of smoldering hair, which reached out and filled my lungs and made it hard to breathe. I began to choke. It meant to kill me. I couldn't see it, only feel its terrible fingers filling up my mouth and nose. Readers visiting Scotland are advised to be cautious on nighttime rambles in the Glasgow area and to be on the lookout for invisible monsters down dark alleys.
Pretty good, huh? Sounded kind of similar to me. The burnt hair thing.
Yeah, that's a
What happened
great
to Mr.
connection.
McGann?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, he's still up in Glasgow, but last I heard, they put him in an asylum. Wasn't right in the head after what he saw. I mean, he was fucking terrified after whatever it was that happened to him. So,
Terrible.
Awful. Tragic.
Well, I don't have...
Now, if you know anything about something similar,
No,
you let
I
me know,
can't
right?
say.
And I'd pay you good.
We'll definitely let you
Of
know.
course, we would let you know. Of course. I mean, my friend Marcus here has already divulged a lot of information. So, as you can tell, we are within your confidence.
All right. Well,
So if we know anything, we will certainly let you.
if you want this McGann's address, I could probably get that
Yes,
for you.
if
Or
you wouldn't mind, thank you. Yes, that would be...
yeah. And the telephone number of the asylum as well. And he goes and like digs it up, and scratches onto a piece of paper the asylum address and name. It is in Glasgow, Scotland, so it's a fair travel away if you actually wanted to go there. But at least you have a telephone number now.
I think we're good not going to the asylum.
Yeah, I think we're cool. I think we're good.
What? Why?
Can you imagine two things scarier, Scotland and an asylum? I mean
that's
that's just
like
recipe for
combination
disaster.
made in hell, that is, isn't it? Marcus, do you have anything else that you wish to say? I think he's been very helpful.
I believe we have reached the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, as far as the
We provide
cases
you
go, I
information?
mean, he like hands you over his notes. It's nothing much more than is printed in the papers. Like he does give you a location of where one of the killings in Soho took place, and I'm gonna go see if I can get you that address.
Yeah, awesome.
Does he have a location for where all of the bodies were found?
He does.
Awesome.
Okay.
And we already know the locations because we've already been told and we've popped them on the map. Right?
Well, what he's going to do is he's going to make sure it's not along that same trail that we have from Penhew to
Bloody
the
hell, if
island.
this
It's
thing
the-
goes all the way up to Scotland, jeez. I mean, it's big enough and takes bigger strides enough to get up.
We'll have to see the date of the article versus when Mr. Penhew purchased, or Mr. Gavigan bought the house. Maybe he lived in Scotland, and then he bought the house, and it moved down here.
Okay.
Because public record will tell us when a house has been purchased. So.
Maybe if Cavigan was up at Scotland at the same time, that could be a connection, and it's tied to him.
Gavigan.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he seems like such a nice guy. They always are, though, in Call of Cthulhu, aren't they? They always are.
Well, not always.
It's the nice guys you got to be careful of. The ones that try to kill you, they're your allies.
So basically, it boils down to the fact: anytime that Staffen shows up, we just immediately murder him.
Just murder him.
We just immediately shoot the character.
Shoot him straight away.
Okay, so here's what he gives you. So there have been, and Mickey gets this out basically from like reams and reams of papers, and goes, so over the last 3 years, there have been 19 murders in Soho. 19 people dead, 17 of which were Egyptian nationals. And they've been called the Egyptian murders because of this, right? 17 Egyptians dead. Now, all in various streets, back alleys. There's no real connection between where they're all dead because it takes a long time between each killing. However, there's this one club in Soho. It's called the Blue Pyramid Club. It's frequented by a lot of these Egyptian guys. And it's home to a lot of Egyptian nationals, run by an Egyptian as well. You know, it's about as Egyptian as Egypt fucking gets, right? So I figured that might be a place to look into. When I started asking Mr. Barrington, Inspector Barrington, about it, he got real quiet. So that led me to believe that I was probably onto something when it comes to Blue Pyramid.
Probably.
Interesting.
Did you ever go there?
Yeah, I did, but the owner is not the chatty kind. In fact, a couple of heavies started looking in my direction and escorted me out of the building pretty quick.
So what
Private
kind of
property,
club?
I'm trespassing, etc.
So it's a private club. Is that you can't just walk in? You require an invitation, a membership.
Presumably. And by the looks of things, I took one look in there, and I was the only non-Egyptian guy in there. So,
Oh, I see.
you know, it seems like you might need an Egyptian friend to get in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, Egypt is on my continent.
It is.
Perhaps
That's
we
where
can
we were
see.
married.
How romantic.
Cairo's lovely.
So either you've got an in with them, or maybe you've got an in with Barrington, and maybe he could tell you something, but he's not likely to talk to the likes of Mickey Mahoney.
Do you remember the name of the owner?
Something Egyptian. Began with a Z, I think. Zafik. Zahik. Shafiq. Shafiq. Yeah. Last name Shafiq.
Okay. As long as this isn't like Dunsborough, I think we're all right.
Could be a fake name.
All right, good,
I
good.
think that's it, yes?
It's been very helpful.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahoney. You have been most helpful.
Thank you, and hey, if you're finding anything else out, you come my way, and we'll see what you can get printed. And if anyone's looking for a job as a writer, I've got a bunch of shit interns that I'm looking to fire. So if anyone needs a job, then outside whimpering his head, then just let me know.
If I
I'm
decide
sure
to
we'll
stop-
speak again, my friend.
Yes. Thank you. And Lucian will leave as quick as he can so we can get some fresh air. Because there's probably smoke everywhere.
Yeah, it's just a heavy cloud.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring in Parker!
And he'll get back into...
What do you mean he's late again?
It's the eternal cigar is cigar
It
stuff.
never goes down. But there's smoke always billowing from it. Interesting.
So you guys head outside of Mickey Mahoney's office.
Yeah,
He also
yeah.
offers you to pay you the equivalent of like $75 for any interesting stories, that you come across, pieces of information, or pictures of women in their underwear.
Oh, God, Mahoney.
Mickey, please.
I thought you were above that.
It's like the page, it's like the sun. It's like page 3,
It's yeah. Daily Star.
As soon as we get outside, like as soon as we hit the streets, Marcus is going to look at the doctor and his wife and say, "We're getting a lot done today. I don't know what's different. I
There's
don't know.
something.
There's something different, but we're getting a lot done today.
I don't know
we-
what
we-
it is.
Had 2
So far,
interviews.
nothing's exploded. We
That's
haven't
true.
shot anyone.
Yeah.
Been a high-speed car chase.
No cops are dead.
And we've still got plenty of time in the day to do another thing. I
We should get
mean,
lunch. Celebrate.
Let's do it. Let's get some lunch.
I think we deserve it. I think we deserve
We
lunch.
do.
We've done very
We
well.
definitely
We've
deserve
done
lunch. And a nice
very, very
coffee.
Sure.
Can we
however, I
high
think
five?
Yeah.
Can we top down high five? Like,
Triangle high
Absolutely.
five. That is the first high five I've ever done in my life. It felt special.
cut to a lunchtime montage of us
Yeah.
laughing over drinks and stuff. Reminiscing about the morning's exploits where we're talking to Mickey and like
They start to call it. Look at all these notes we've taken. I've got 3 pages.
Remember-
Yeah.
hey, remember when you went down inside that sarcophagus? Another montage. You're
Never
still
been
alive.
Oh dear.
Yep. It's beautiful.
However,
say
I
we-
do. So, however, I do think we should speak to Inspector Barrington.
Oh, perhaps. I
I
think
want
that
to know what
like,
had him spooked.
me and Marcus could definitely investigate the Pyramid Club, as Marcus is quite fluent in Arabic, which could open up some doors not currently available to Mr. Mahoney or even potentially Mr. Previous page, Mr. Barrington.
Well, I think that could be something that we could do later tonight.
Although he's
when-
had the whole morning, so he should have been able to at least check your credentials. Make sure you're affiliated.
Absolutely. I'm sure it'll be all fine. So should we head to Inspector Barrington now, get that out of the way, see if what we can find off him, and then... I mean, I'm not sure if you want me at the Pyramid Club, the Blue Pyramid Club.
Oh, that's
I'm not
very
sure
true.
if that would hinder your... I mean, I'm as British, I'm as English as they come. Maybe it's not
It's very true.
Yes,
exactly.
You're English with law enforcement credentials.
I'm sure that will be beneficial with the Blue Pyramid Club. I'm sure they give a shit about the law.
It's not sovereign land. It's not an embassy.
No. I can imagine
Oh,
if
no.
Barrington didn't get anywhere, I can't imagine I would. But if you wish me there, I'll be more than willing to go. I just don't want to...
And see if we can
Hinder.
speak to someone.
Okay. So, let's head down to Scotland Yard, see if we can get to Barrington, talk to him about some murders, maybe even perhaps see the bodies so I can do a quick investigation, see if there are any similarities to the bodies in New York, and see what information we can get out of him.
Right. Is there any way we can see about my journalism credentials and see if
Yeah,
my
sure.
good buddy William Randolph Hearst has gotten...
Yeah, so you check in with like the Telegram, wherever it is you're staying, and your credentials have been, double checked here for England, and you're good to go. Favor from an old friend. Okay, so you head over to Inspector Barrington at New Scotland Yard. Getting into a place you have to show your IDs, say who you're asking for, and wait for 30 minutes before Barrington is free, before finally he lets you into this his office. Now, this place is obviously crawling with policemen, as you're at Scotland Yard.
I feel so comfortable here.
it's so safe. And
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. But hey,
I
you
roll a
yeah.
pen while I wait.
you see Barrington inside, razor thin, slightly older gentleman, but he doesn't appear to have aged poorly, and he still seems vigorous and lively. So he briskly opens up the door, gives you a razor thin smile as you come in, and says, Mr. Ernest, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan. Please come and take a seat. I would offer you a refreshment, but I assume that you've had enough to drink for one day.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Just had a cup of tea.
Where are we?
Barrington's.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to Scotland Yard.
Yeah, Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard. Thank you.
Barrington lets you into his room. His desk is piled with reports, cases, papers. He's got a conspiracy board at the back of his room with all sorts of pins in it and all sorts.
Can we drink that in for any?
That's
Yeah.
what I was about to say. Yeah, can we?
It seems to loosely, with a quick glance, locate to the 19 murders within Soho that he's investigating at the moment.
Okay.
And he says, I have checked in with your credentials, Mr. Ernest, and I believe that I am permitted to speak with you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Supposedly you trust these companions of yours enough that I may share this information with as well?
Absolutely.
secretary.
Absolutely.
I'm not.
He's fine.
No, they are with me. They have assisted me in this investigation. Yes.
Very well. Then what is it that you require of me, and how can I be of service?
I would like to know more information about these Soho murders, particularly let's say the more recent ones, the ones that happened in Soho.
Very well. Total of 19 murders have been carried out over the past 3 years. Each have a similar modus operandi. 17 of these dead individuals are Egyptian nationals, a fact that the press quickly caught on to. A witness who came upon a dying victim after hearing a commotion said the victim cried out, "Hotep."
Hotep.
Yes, my investigations confirmed it is an ancient Egyptian word meaning rest or peace. We've followed up on our investigation and believe that the Blue Pyramid Club is either harboring or unknowingly harboring the killer or killers.
Do you
It's
have
frequented
any?
by...
Do you have any suspects at this present time?
I have interviewed a number of people in connection to these killings. The vast majority have had very little to offer, although a spice dealer named Zara Shafiq has certainly taken my interest. Yes, Shafiq.
Have you had any progress in investigating the Blue Pyramid Club?
Progress has been slow. The problem being that Shafiq and her people are not swift to speak with the police. Any interviews and investigations that we've had with them, they do not speak to us in any way at all. Indeed, it seems like they are all covering for one another.
I see.
It is no doubt of mine that we do not have another Jack the Ripper style killing on our hands. While the murders have been similar, it strikes me that several people have to be behind the amount of murder such as this, an operation well run and managed by one leader. My suspect is Zara Shafiq. She's smart enough, clever enough, and resourceful enough to pull off such a killing. My only question that is still unanswered is why.
Indeed. You have no theories as to why?
There have been several theories, though none of them really line up exactly right. When you're in this business as long as I am, you get a feeling for such things. Call it a hunch, I suppose. But none of the victims were robbed, mugged, and none of their possessions were stolen. None of them had enemies or connections as far as we can tell. None of them were involved in any gangs, crimes, or anything along those lines. The only thing that does tie them together is that they are all Egyptian nationals. Now one would ask, if Zara Shafiq is indeed our killer, why on earth she would be killing her own nationals? That I do not know. Killings themselves are brutal, swift, and fast.
All the same or different?
Similar modus operandi. I suspect that each of them was killed by the same, if not same group of people, using the same kinds of weapons.
I assume you had an autopsy done on each of the victims. You wouldn't happen to have the autopsy reports that I could read, or have photos that I could investigate?
I suppose I could give you a copy, under the understanding that this would be shared with no one else other than your companions.
Absolutely. No one else will know.
He finds the report and kind of hands it over to you and shows you through it. And it's like, as you can see, these killings were done with one or several blades of the same kind. Knives used, inserted across the throats first, stabbed into the back of the neck, so the killers came from behind. And then they made sure that they were dead with several further stabs to the throat, guts. Then they moved on very swiftly.
Was there any organs missing from the victims?
He looks to give you a strange look. No, nothing out of the ordinary was removed or taken. No trophies.
Okay. Interesting.
Anything written on the walls? Calling cards of a different nature.
There was one thing that struck us strange. On one of the walls, last killing, painted in black. So some kind of nursery rhyme. 3, 4. Shut the door. I'm not sure exactly what this means.
Could you
Perhaps
tell us about?
it is unrelated.
Could you tell us about the last victim? Their name, where it was, That was the one with the rhyme, yes?
Certainly. He actually gives you the 19 names and says, "Oh, unfortunately, the crime scene has been cleared and
Naturally.
moved
And the
on."
body
There's
has been disposed of, I assume. Or
disposed of, unfortunately. It's nothing left to see really at the scene of the crime now.
Could you
Really, our
tell-
investigations center around the Blue Pyramid Club.
Of course, of course. There have been 19 murders within the last 3 years. 17 of them Egyptians. What can you tell me about the other 2 that aren't Egyptians? When they happened, what their names, and perhaps connections?
Yes, suppose I can. 2 of the other 2 were English nationals.
Mm-hmm.
One of which we were unable to identify. The other of which we were able to identify as a man who once worked at the Penhew Foundation. I reached out to Mr. Edward Gavigan at the Penhew Foundation to confirm that he was a former employee of his. He confirmed that was the case, although he had been let go several years past. That was the last record we have of this gentleman. He was killed in a similar manner, although he had defensive wounds upon him.
You see,
We're
so
running
they're
with a theory for a while that it may have been this gentleman that was behind these killings and something went wrong.
Mhm.
One of his would-be victims turned a blade upon him, although that theory was dashed after the killings continued.
So it is possible that this person here, actually, they didn't quite get the jump on like the others, and he had a small chance to defend himself, but evidently was futile.
Yes, that would be my best guess as well.
Could you tell me the name of this gentleman, please?
Certainly. Matthew Williams.
Matthew Williams. And how
Oh,
long
he
ago
could have
was his
known.
death?
2 years past now.
2 years, this one was. And you personally have not set foot into the Blue Pyramid Club, no?
I
Haven't
have managed
applied-
to set inside, yes, but my
What was it like?
investigations... Frosty.
Frosty, as in cold.
In atmosphere, if not in temperature. They keep it hot in there as though it were Egypt.
I see.
Sarah Shafiq, we brought her back to Scotland Yard to answer some questions. She was not very forthcoming at all.
I see. This is going to sound very odd, Inspector, but please indulge me. Has there been any, shall we say, something in line with all these murders that has potentially chilled you to your very core, frightened you, scared you? Something about them that doesn't seem normal, that stands out, that seems potentially impossible?
I'm not one to believe in the supernatural, Mr. Ernest. I like to keep my investigations well within the realms of science. That being said, one night I was at the Blue Pyramid Club, staking the place out, saw nothing. My partner had gone home, I continued onwards. Decided to take a walk around the foggy streets, outside the back of the club. I could have sworn that there was something moving there. Something in the darkness. Something large.
You
I smelt something, Mr. Ernest. I smelt
interesting.
burnt hair. It was a sensation unlike any other. I was certain that something had to be moving out there in the mists. And then, as quickly as it had come, it had left. After I burnt my torchlight through the fog. It seemed to disappear and dissipate. Perhaps it is nothing more than me being up too late and seeing things in the darkness, but I know what I smelt. And I know what I heard. They're hiding something at that club, Mr. Ernest. I'm not sure what it is or where it's come from, but I am convinced that they may very well be killing to cover up whatever is going on within the Blue Pyramid Club. Now, if I could find a way to get into the basement area, I'm certain that's where such a thing would be hidden.
Obviously, you have to, you need a warrant and to get into the court of law. Legally, this is purely, hypothetical, but you wouldn't happen to know back doors, blueprints of the place that we could find? Purely hypothetically, of course.
He pauses for a moment. I do have blueprints of the area. I suppose I could show them to you.
If you wouldn't mind.
He folds out a map of the place, and he says, adjacent to within the same building is a greengrocer's shop, just on the corner. That greengrocer has access to this shared back entrance that the same club uses as well to get around. Now, the greengrocer locks it all the time, keeps careful eye on it, and there's no way into the club from the outside, only through the back door, except from the greengrocer's entrance, which leads somewhere into the back. Now, on these blueprints, he points, there's a trap door which leads into an underground area which is off the blueprints. I don't know what's in there, and no one does. Now, I legally cannot and will not enter into this property.
Of course.
But if someone else were to do some investigating as a private citizen, working for Her Majesty's Secret Service, well, that's an entirely different matter, Mr. Ernst.
Yes, I suppose it is.
Another location that you may wish to visit, if you are interested, is Empire Spices. This is Zara Shafiq's spice shop, a 2-story building at 76 Warder Street in Soho. Of course, this is another private location, property of Miss Shafiq, which I also cannot enter. It would not surprise me, however, if there were all sorts that was within her property there that she also would not like me to find. Evidence,
Of course.
amongst other things.
Of course. You have been most helpful, Inspector. Is there a phone that I could potentially use to call someone?
Certainly. He'll like show you out, down the corridor. To,
He'll basically.
Tommy.
Please excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan. I shall leave the
course.
Inspector and the plans in your capable hands. And he'll head up and go down. And he's basically going to ring the hair. Going to update him on what he's known and see if he can get eyes on the Blue Pyramid, like constantly. Get eyes on it to get information. Who comes out? Who comes in? How many guards? Basically, recon, and potentially the spy shop as well.
Yeah, the white hair will pick up the phone. Yeah, mate.
Mr. Hare, I have a favor to ask of you.
All right, what is it?
We believe we might have a lead to the murders in Soho. Inspector, oh my god, I forgot his name. Barrington. Inspector Barrington has been very helpful with us. He believes there is information within the Blue Pyramid Club. Unfortunately, he is tied by law to not be able to go in and search it, but he is convinced that this is where they're all linked. I was wondering if you could potentially get, as you say in the trade, have eyes on the building, as well as a particular spice, Empire Spices,
You want me to look at a spice shop
Well, just keep eyes on it. See who comes in, who comes out.
in
Deliveries.
case it goes anywhere?
In case of who comes in, who comes out. Surely you understand that information is valuable in this.
Yeah, mate, I am a spy. I do get that. Fair enough.
So-
I'll keep an eye on both buildings for you. Let you know if anything's odd going on.
Fantastic. And
Keep it up, son.
well, just doing my patriotic duty for His Majesty.
Oh, why? While you're at it, if you've got any names you want me to look into, I can have a little sniff around, you know?
Well, let's have a look. Let's see who we've got. Shafiq? I can't remember. What was her first name?
Zara Shafiq.
Zara Shafiq. She is the owner of the Blue Pyramid Club and Empire Spices that we will be investigating. Also, do you have anything on Edward Cavigan?
Gavigan, I looked into him since last you mentioned. Nothing much has really turned up. He seems to keep himself to himself, all the business, what goes on in the Penhew Foundation. It's all about Egypt. All Egypt.
All
though.
about nothing else?
Yeah.
Nothing,
I reckon if this Shafiq Woman's Egyptian, if anyone's going to know him, it's going to be Gavigan.
we might have to have another word with Mr. Gavigan at some point. And a Dr. H.
Oh.
Clive. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hang on a minute.
What?
He's you can hear rifling through papers on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shipment from Empire Spices, Penhew Foundation. Yeah. So I was looking into them trucks and lorries, what they bring in.
Yep.
And one of them is from the same what that you mentioned, Empire Spice.
One of them. One specific one.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just like one shipment, isn't it?
Okay. Interesting.
Probably likes a bit of spice in his,
That's what
food
he's
or something.
smuggling in artifacts, one or the other.
he like nods. He shrugs uncommittally. All right then, keep at it.
Actually, yes, there are some other names that perhaps you could.
Oh
have a look
fucking
at
hell!
while
All
we
right,
can-
what is it?
I do believe this is your job, is it not? This is what you do, yes?
Part of my job, mate. I'm a busy fucking guy. I'm fielding
Yes.
calls from several field agents right now, some of which are in imminent potential danger. So
Well, they can wait, I'm sure. So, what about Dr. H?
I'll remember that when you're in fucking danger and
Right.
calling me up.
Oh, I'm sure you will. A Dr.
Dr. H.
Dr.
Clive.
Clive, anything that rings a bell? I know it's not much to go on, but
You know where he lives?
do we know? No, I don't think we know. We just got a name, Dr. H.
Do you know what? Is he in
Clive.
England?
Oh,
is
yes,
he English?
Miser House. Is he Miser House?
Oh, that's Edward Gavigan.
Oh, that's Edward Gavigan, isn't it?
Yeah, all you have is Clive's name.
Yeah, no, that's it. And perhaps Hypatia Masters
Fucking name's that, all right.
and a Warrior Bessart.
All right, well, out there than them, but I'll give it a look-see for you, mate. See what I can dig
don't
up.
try too hard.
All right, then. Hurrah.
Bye bye. And he'll put down the phone and head back.
That guy.
That guy's gonna fuck us over. I can see it now. He's gonna screw us over. I can already see it.
He's set back with with Inspector James Barrington. While we're freely exchanging information, Dr. Ernest, is there any information you could give me on the apparent break-in to your house? You seemed reluctant to tell me anything this morning, but now that I've checked everything out, it seems like maybe now would be the time for honesty.
Inspector, you and I, we are both men of science. I a doctor, and you an inspector. We deal in facts. And I don't wish to alarm you, but that time you smelt burning, the time where you thought that something was there, that wasn't tiredness, that was real, Inspector. And that is exactly what happened that night at my apartment. Now, obviously, you can understand why I was reluctant to say such things. Talking to an inspector, invisible monster, smell her, and totally destroyed a car. you could understand why I was reluctant to tell you. The similarities to what you saw and what I saw as well.
It gives you a very skeptical look.
I
Were you
understand.
not incredibly drunk, Dr. Ernest?
We were, yes. Were you incredibly drunk, Inspector, when you smelt?
No, I don't drink on the job.
Naturally. So therefore, I mean, it is possible, but the similarities are there, surely.
You're telling me that an invisible monster that smelled like burnt hair picked up your car last night and threw it down the end of the street?
Yes. I asked simply that you keep an open mind, considering what you are dealing with.
Okay, what else could you tell me about this invisible monster?
Have you ever heard of an incident in Glasgow with a Mr. Alan McCann?
I can't say that I have.
Mr. Alan McCann experienced the same thing. Monster, well, creature, invisible, burnt of smell and smelled of burning. And
He takes the paper clipping and brings it away.
I
Tell
give
me
him the
about
paper clipping and go through it. 3 very distinctive descriptions of the same thing that we saw. Or, in this case, not saw.
it. Perhaps.
I mean, he's going to look at Marcus to see if he wants to chip in, because Marcus is the one who really experienced it, and he'll just wait for his cue if he's interested.
I thought, didn't you guys go out to the phone together, leaving?
Yeah,
us
well,
in
I
the
went out. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, he opened the door to show you it, and then he came back into his
okay.
office. He's not going to leave people alone in his office.
Well, if he was, we had stuff to do, but we're just gonna sit and nod and be like, yeah, oh, okay, sounds familiar. Like Mr. Tennessee Gray was completely sober the whole night, and he saw the same thing. That's why he wasn't willing to talk about it this morning. Didn't want you to think he was crazy in front of all the other police officers. That was his car.
I have to admit that this is a bit hard to believe, and also
Absolutely.
next to no evidence to go on.
Inspector, the impossible is impossible only until we discover it to be probable. Medical science has proven that again and again and again. It is just things we haven't learned yet. It's things we haven't discovered.
There's something you know about this case that might help me. I do entreat you to tell me. I realize that you are working with the British government, and that's why I'm still listening.
I have told you everything that I know. I am not.
If we find anything else, though,
We
straight
will
here.
keep you up to date, Inspector.
Very well. Well, last thing you should look at in that autopsy report is the type of blades that were used. Strange, unlike anything I've seen before. The doctors tell me that it is like a ripping and tearing, more than a true blade.
Is it like the same wounds as the ones in New York, like the exact?
And they're more similar as you look at like the the models and diagrams and stuff. You can see where like throats have been cut, like ripped open, and like attacked from the back. But also mouths and their noses seem to have taken damage as well, which strikes me similar to the thing which attacked Marcus and Tennessee as well. And he says, as you can see, the swiftness of these attacks is such that it must have been multiple killers, 2, perhaps even 3.
Shit. Does
Or
the
just one
autopsy
thing with a lot of arms.
Does the autopsy? So according to the autopsy report, do they believe that a blade did this?
Yes, it's just a blade. They can't identify what kind of blade, so they've said
They-
a bladed object, but they don't have the suggestion of it was a kitchen knife, etc.
Strange. This might seem strange, but did the autopsy speak of any damage within the mouths, the throat, or the nostrils? Do I get a read that they say if there's any damage within that area, any remnants of something foreign, like a foreign substance?
Sorry, say that again.
Okay, so basically, I'm reading through the autopsy report to see if there is any significant damage with inside the mouth, inside the throat, like a tentacle going in, or up the nose.
Several of the victims bit their tongues, is what they think, and there is internal damage within their mouths and noses, but it's nothing that they've picked up on as being particularly important. So it's mentioned in the report, but it's not something that is the focus of their investigation, because obviously they're not thinking, oh yeah, a three-armed tentacle monster shoved its its fingers into their nose. They're like, oh, 3 people stabbed them in the back of the head and and the mouth and the neck, etc.
Oh shit.
What's wrong, Dr. Ernest?
I'm not sure yet. Being a skeptic already, I would much prefer giving you solid evidence to a theory that is going around my mind.
Very well.
I will wait to see. I have something more concrete. I would not want to impede your investigation with something that is potentially nothing.
Very well. Well, you have my telephone number, and you know where my office is if you need anything else. In the meantime, I will be continuing my investigation.
There is one thing I wish to ask of you, Inspector. If you do smell burning again and get that feeling, just run and don't look back. Do not hesitate, run.
Very well, Dr. Ernest.
And he'll look to the Jordans. Is there anything else that you wish to add? Asked the inspector.
Not at all. If we're getting ready to quit the room, as everyone would leave, Marcus would go back with a cigarette out and ask for a light from the inspector.
You'd offer a light.
As he leans in to cup the flame and draw on the cigarette, Gavigan, the basement, burning hair. Thanks for the smoke. And he walks out.
He gives you a long look as you leave. Outside of New Scotland Yard, police are still crawling all over the place, and you guys can head out onto the street once again.
Yeah, we go into the street. He'll get in the car.
At this point, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon.
We're going to buy some torches / flashlights. We need an Irish person in the chat to testify.
Yeah, we'll go get the. I think didn't we already buy it when we got the map? We bought the.
Oh, that's right, we did.
The map.
Sure, you can have bought a torch.
An asterisk. Greg knows that they're called torches. I've run Cthulhu for over a year, and I know they're called torches. Everyone, I was being Marcus. That's all about it.
Right, some more torches. Everybody gets a torch.
Mean, it's possible they say torches in Africa as well. It was a British colony, South Africa.
From South Africa.
I'm just putting it out
dare
there.
you.
I'm just putting it out there.
We got them all.
We got them all.
The time's
It
come
was
for
like
us
a
to fight,
quarter
Doctor.
of the world. It was a quarter of the world. There's a reason.
We
they
put
say
flashlights everywhere.
Yeah.
The torch never sets on the British.
On the British.
Yeah.
So we'll get into the car,
Everybody has one. That's
and
it.
Lucian will look very worried. I believe this creature is the one that's killing them.
I do as well, and I'm a bit confused because I'm gonna have a talk with my brother. He said this man's on his tail. He wasn't mentioned at all during the Soho killings. Damn
So your
it,
brother
Cole.
was, as you say, full of shit.
Potentially. I'll rub that shit in his face later. Don't worry.
Right. Okay.
But I am going to tell him
I
not
am
to go out
very
at
worried
night.
now. I am very worried. Perhaps.
Obviously.
Why is it targeting specific Egyptians?
Are all the people I had my train of thought derailed midway through, but were all the victims male? Of the
Yes.
killings? Okay.
You know,
Well-
I think what we need to do. I think we need to. I as much as I hate to say this, I think this requires some library work. I think we need to go to the library and see if we can find out what this creature is in some sort of
Sure.
a book, something. Maybe it is being controlled. Maybe they are sacrificial. Maybe they are being
It's domestic
sacrificed.
folklore. It's one of the top 10 most haunted houses in Great Britain.
Yeah, so we could perhaps be able to get a time frame. How long has this thing been hunting?
Yes, that would be yes. So perhaps
It might.
try.
It
the
also
library.
might be worth being able to see if there's any foreign indications of similar murders. We have things going on in New York. We have,
Absolutely.
perhaps there's something that pops up around that would give us some type of track or some type of periods of activity versus periods of hibernation.
Absolutely.
And we can say we can look up to the public records and say when Mr. Gavigan purchased that house, if it was before or after the Scotland incident in Glasgow.
I don't know about all of you, but we are doing God's work today.
We
We're
are doing amazing.
May I propose another triple high five?
I think yes, absolutely.
We are kicking. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know what it's changed. That everything is happening and coming up roses today, but
But we are on fire. Absolutely.
I
On
say we've had lunch. Let's get some dinner and hit the library.
let's get some dinner.
fire. Yes, absolutely,
montage.
absolutely.
Cut
You
to
know
another
what?
montage.
You know what? I think my treat. We will go to one of the most fanciest restaurants in London and have a very glorious meal, and
I
then we
think
shall
that'll
go
be a
to-
nice idea.
Yes. My treat.
Yes.
My treat.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Lucian. It's very kind of you.
And
Now we can
we'll
get
go-
some reading time. Be grand.
When would you like to speak to your brother, though? Is that something you would want to do quite urgently, or can it wait?
I'll just ring him.
Very well, very well. If that's what you wish, I'm sure there will be a phone at the restaurant. Should you want to do it? So we go to a restaurant and do
I
a
don't know if
dinner eating montage.
those little phone booths were there all around Great Britain, so I'm totally using one of those. Always wanted to use one.
I think they were around in the
Aye.
20s. Were they around in the 20s? I know
I
they
know, someone
were-
on YouTube will comment like 8 months later telling us how historically inaccurate it is. So we'll find out in like 8 months' time, guys. Like that's how I do all of this. Like that's how I learn. Yeah. So who do you guys want to call?
I'm ringing Colm.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna say this too. I like the idea that right now in the future, 6 months from now, someone is mid-comment when you make your comment. They're listening to the son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach you. Actually, well, yeah. So, yeah. You call up Colm. Hey.
Colm, I just spoke with the good Officer Barrington a little bit.
You
Hey,
did? How'd it
mention
go?
You or your boys at all, but you wouldn't happen to be doing business with Empire Spices or the Blue Pyramid Club, were you?
What? No. Me? That's just... Alright, so maybe I do a little bit of business on the side of these Egyptian fellas.
Well,
I mean, they
My
may be
advice-
foreign, but they ain't English, you know?
that's very true, and I can appreciate and respect your point there, being a South African citizen myself. However, we've been doing some investigating into these the murders that have been going on, and they're very connected to the Blue Pyramid Club, and some strange happenings. I would advise you to stop doing business with them, or at least drag it out a little bit. I wouldn't go near the Empire Spices or the Blue Pyramid Club for
a little while.
Sis, can you give me a little bit more than weird stuff's going on?
Well, obviously people are getting attacked and murdered. Calm.
Yeah, but not my guys. Just Egyptians.
Just Egyptians. So, well, there's been two. One of which was an Englishman, and another one, well, they couldn't quite identify the body. But there's these attacks. You wouldn't have happened to... Remember the other night when we said we saw something strange and my friend's car got flipped across the street?
Sure.
Well,
I remember
all right.
that.
All right, sure. Well, these are all correlated to this thing. This moves in the mist, and if you smell burnt hair, just run the other way. You see a lot of fog, smell burnt hair, just don't go near it.
I
You
don't
don't
know
say
what
it.
you're talking about.
You don't have to know what
but,
I'm talking about, Colin. You just have to listen to me.
listen, I don't know if these Egyptian guys are good guys. That's
They're
kind
not.
of why I'm doing business with them in
Yeah,
the first
well-
place.
I get it, but
But if you want a little scoop of something,
all right, I'm listening.
then this person that I do business with,
Miss Shafiq?
maybe I've heard that
Uh-huh.
name before, and maybe I've done a deal or two with her in the past for a
All right.
whole lot of investments.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you it's not her doing the killings. I overheard something with the group of them talking one
Public-
time,
I'm
and
listening.
they said it was some rich guy, some
Perhaps Edward
English
Gavigan.
fella.
Does that name ring a bell?
They didn't say a name, but they were
Alright.
scared shitless, fucking terrified. It's all of their guys that are dying. And so that's why they've hired some of my lads for a wee bit of protection.
Well, tell your lads that if me and my friends come walking about, we're trying to help them as much as we're trying to help you, right?
Sis, I don't think they're going to understand if I'm just letting friends and family into places where they shouldn't be going, if you catch my drift.
All right. Well, can you get us so it's not exactly where we're not supposed to be going? Could you make it someplace where we are? You know my skills. And Marcus is fluent in Arabic.
Roll me a charm.
Oh
You
shit!
get plus 20 onto it because he's your brother.
He's my brother. 20. That's 35 now.
Yeah, he says, sorry sis, but these people aren't anyone to be messing with. My advice, if you're only in town for a couple of days, leave it well alone. Don't go anywhere near the club. Don't go anywhere near the warehouse. They got eyes all
Right.
over it.
All right. No promises, but I'll see what I can do about clearing the situation up.
And hey, if you wanted me to set up a meeting with this lady, that could be something that was done. As long as there were no firearms or weapons involved. A simple chat.
Of course.
What about
Okay,
violence?
when should I set it up for?
Marcus, when would be a good time to set up an appointment with a certain influential lady?
AFP.
Right now, she can join us for dinner.
Oh, well, if she hasn't eaten already, we can meet her up for dinner. We're going to be at this restaurant. I'll give him the restaurant we're going to.
Sure.
Rules restaurant. in
She'll have to wait
Carlyle.
until we finish our montage, and then she can join us.
A public place sounds like a good idea.
And of course,
I
dinner will
can't
be on us.
promise. I can't promise you that she's exactly going to be forthcoming. I'm going to be cashing in a favor for this. You understand?
I understand completely. Appreciate it, Colm. Thanks, big brother.
Hey, just don't get yourself killed.
I haven't done that yet. Don't plan on doing it in the future.
Yep. Okay.
Same goes for you. And then she'll kind of, say bye. Let's go to dinner. Da, 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 da. Montage. We'll have like a montage of us getting ready for dinner, you know, because we got to get cleaned up if we're going to a fancy place.
True.
We were all hungover early.
Yeah, we're all having drinks in the bar when we get there. Hey, remember when we went to New Scotland Yard? Yeah! And then it comes to the table. Let us get a monster.
That newspaper place. That was cool too. We got all that information. We've got look at our map. It's like a conspiracy board with all these monster attacks. It's crazy.
And then it cuts, and there's another crazy thing, and then Marcus is sitting there smoking a cigarette, and he goes, "Are we missing people?" And then it cuts away and starts.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, so we get all freshened up for nice dinner.
And then we will go for dinner at Rules, I suppose we'll wait for as long as we can for her to arrive. You did say, I'm assuming you told her where we were.
We'd probably get a nice quiet corner booth if possible, like one of those nice round tables.
Yeah. I mean, I would try.
That way we can't be dropped. I can just slip extra money. Generally, that works.
I can afford it, but it's whether or not they have tables free.
Yeah.
That's
well,
yeah,
with enough money, they're gonna have tables free. Let's get a private.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Usually they have a private room back by the kitchen. Let's get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is becoming significantly more expensive than I first envisioned.
About a minute. It's just...
Marcus just got back his credentials. We got plenty of money. We're okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
As long as you're assisting with the bill, that's all right then.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
All
of
right.
course. We'll
course.
help you out, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank
So you guys find yourselves in a lively restaurant, but a quiet part of it, as late into the evening, about an hour behind the scheduled time, Miss Zara Shafiq enters. She's Egyptian in nationality. She's demure and very beautiful looking woman, though she has a sort of cunning look to her eyes, which dart around the room nervously as she enters into it. Her dress is long enough to conceal a hidden weapon, is something that Catherine would suspect of this woman, as she takes a seat at the table.
Violin strings. Like
Mhm.
she ain't.
So the group of you sit down, and she looks over towards Catherine and says, "So, I have learned from a mutual acquaintance of ours that we are to meet, to have a friendly conversation before anything goes too far. This I have agreed to. So,
Thank you very
what
much.
is it that you want? I know who you all are."
Did you know Jackson Elias?
Of him? No, I never met him personally.
Yeah,
Your
Catherine's
understanding
mostly
that you
Marcus do the talking, as it's not her strong suit.
you understand that we understand that several of your friends have been met with terrible ends. We have common murders appearing in Peru and New York City. We do not wish to be among the list in the future, as is Jackson Elias.
I see. So then you have spoken with Barrett. And if my sources are correct, then you also have other friends. And she shoots eyes over towards Lucian. Not friends of mine, though.
Lucian will smile.
Not friends of mine either. But mutual interest.
All going.
Definitely not friends of mine.
We want to know and stop these murders from carrying on. And I'm sure you want the same. So the more information that you can give us, the better it will be for all of us.
Why on earth should I trust 3 strangers?
You cannot possibly implicate yourself in these crimes because you're not doing them. I believe we know who he is. But we need to get all the information we can to protect ourselves. And by default, protect you and your people.
We need evidence.
Who and what is doing these murders? We have an idea, but no solid evidence.
Tell
Why do
me
you
what
think your men
your
were
brief
killed?
is. What is your purview of this operation? What is it that you're interested in? And more importantly, what is it that you are not interested in
We are
filing an
interest-
official report?
We are interested in just stopping the murders. That is what we're interested in. Let me put it this way. And he'll lean forward and take a sip of his drink. Miss Shafiq. It is Miss, yes? Mrs.?
Shafiq will do fine.
Shafiq, as you say. These murders have been going on for 3 years, yes? You have been
We know
losing men
this.
for 3 years. For 3 years, you have tried to prevent this, to try to stop this, and try to figure it out. And you have failed. The only difference between all those 3 years is us. We can stop that. We can change that. Whatever you've been doing for the 3 years, it has not worked. Perhaps it's time to change tact. Can I roll a persuade?
Certainly you can.
Yeah, persuade is pretty good. Ah. Ooh. Okay, 44. Regular success.
Mhm. I suppose what you say may be true. Very well. But know that me telling you this puts my life in danger. More danger than it has been already. I do not say these things lightly. I am not sure if you've ever heard of an organization, a secret society called the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh.
I think we have. Have we got that yet? No, we don't.
Was
Okay,
that in
forget that.
sect of Africa's dark sect?
It is
Nope.
not.
We heard it.
we haven't.
We heard it in the last
Maybe-
campaign.
Last campaign was
Last
definitely came
campaign,
off.
was it? Okay. They're blending together. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So she reads you and knows that, you haven't heard this name before. Ah. Well, they once existed in Egypt when I was a little girl back home. My grandmother used to say the Brotherhood would come and get me if I misbehaved. There is a group of them here in London. And they are no longer led by their former Egyptian masters. They see any Egyptians as a threat to their rule. And so, it is my belief that they have been killing me and my friends. You see, I have a secret. And she smiles. Some of my friends are wanted back home for crimes, or wanted here for similar crimes, war crimes, worse, or they are illegally here within the country. My spice shop and club is a place to hide them from Inspector Barrington and his folk, who would like nothing more than to pin these murders upon my friends. So that is why they have been killing me and my kind, for we know what their society is.
And what are they?
In truth, I do not know what it is that they're up to. All I know is that they are very powerful, very wealthy, and utterly ruthless.
Should you have a guess of who is in charge?
Edward Gavigan.
I thought.
We suspected his involvement.
Why kill so sporadically? I suppose to hide it as best he could.
I suppose so. Taking us
Could you
out one by one is less suspicious, perhaps.
Could you tell me about the people that you have lost? Is there any connection between each and every one of you apart from being Egyptian?
Anything
They
with
are-
any, perhaps, former archaeological digs or the Penhew Foundation?
What were their previous crimes? Like perhaps they robbed excavation sites. Anything that could link them all together?
Nothing of the kind. Are linked to rebellions, wars back home. Some of them are thieves, others smugglers. Nothing of the archaeological sort, I'm afraid.
So in your mind, they were at the wrong place at the wrong time and paid the price.
Knowledge of the Black Pharaoh Society does not flow freely in England, though in Egypt we know more of them. Of their former crimes and power there in the country. They do not wish to be known here. And that's the only reason I can think of why they would be looking to kill me and my people.
Just to keep the knowledge
Mark-
on the down.
Right.
Marcus is going to lean back a bit and Han Solo in his seat. What I don't understand, though, is that you're aware that Mr. Gavigan is in charge of this Black Pharaoh network, or at least he has a measure of respectability. They are killing your people and, at the very least, helping to frame you all for the murders. Why are you exchanging trucks with them?
She looks surprised and then composes herself. The trucks. It's a way for us to keep an eye on them.
I'm doing
Throw me a psychology roll.
Oh, that's a real good success. Hard success.
Anyone get an extreme or higher?
I mean, I'll give it a shot.
I can give it
Captain.
a go, but
Anyone else
psychology,
looking-
yeah?
Not me.
I'll spend 7 luck if that's what it takes.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I got 60. I got a hard success. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you need an extreme success to
Oh, hang on. How much would I have to? I don't have any luck.
I'll
I got 20
spend-
luck.
I'll
Yeah,
spend it.
Marcus
I'll
can
spend
spend it. She's lying to you.
Bitch.
The books are where you've caught her up, but she's a phenomenal liar.
Uh-huh.
Lucian's kind of like, yeah, believe in him.
You know, you're kind of buying the story up until the books, where that just doesn't make any sense if that's really what's going on.
He'll switch to Arabic.
Nice.
Are you selling out your own people? Keeping yourself taken care of? Or are you working directly with him? And by Han Soloing in a chair, you're not lounging. You're going for your gun. Just to-
She, her face locks up in an icy kind of grip, and she says, "I suggest you do not do anything stupid, Mr. Jordan." Also in Arabic. Switches back to English. I will give you this one last piece of advice, Len. Leave me alone. And she stands up. It's been a pleasure having dinner with all of you, but I'm afraid I must attend to some business.
Lucian stands and
She does.
extends his hand to shake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she shakes it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for meeting us and the information. Remember, we are
Yeah,
on the same side. Well,
She
don't
looks
want
back to
killings to
Marcus. Of course we are. Chig's very displeased as she leaves.
I bet she does have some business to take care of now.
She's like, fuck!
She's like, damn, they got me on the books.
What happens next?
Well, as far as I know, he turns to
yeah, Lucian's like, this is
talk
great.
about what was that about?
Marcus knows what he's doing.
He's smoking a cigarette. He takes the cigarette, and his other hand comes up from beneath the table holding his gun, and he puts it on the tabletop. Since we're in a private room. She's a liar. She knows it. And she knows us.
Which part did she lie about? Everything?
Everything. Everything suspect. She's an excellent purveyor of deception. I found it quite intoxicating. Were I not married?
You start to get a look, and then it kind of shifts too.
Honest, at this moment, probably Lucian is blushing a bit red because she probably did have him. He had no idea she was telling. He's kind of like blushing. He takes a sip and puts it down. He goes, "Well, it's a good job you are a master at reading people, Marcus."
Not a master, but she is.
JJ, what am I doing?
Oh, he's pretty good. If I do say so myself.
So perhaps, so she lied. So perhaps,
Yes, she did.
Perhaps we should investigate more about this group that she talked about. See what we can find about that.
Cult of the Black Pharaoh. I think we've got our reading material at the library.
Cult of the Black Pharaoh.
We do, but if there's one thing that we should do before we go to the library and read, well, several things. One, another high five.
Absolutely.
2, you should contact your brother and let him know what we discovered.
Oh,
He is not safe, nor has he ever been.
Wait.
right.
What if, I mean no offense, Catherine, but what if her brother is involved? As in...
Unknowingly.
Are you
She's
sure
an
about
excellent
that?
liar. No, I'm not sure of anything. She's very good at deception is what I'm saying, Doctor. But telling someone the truth and entering into an agreement...
That's very
No,
true.
she's going to lie about everything. It is her canvas. She is working with a medium, and she is a master.
It's gotten very quiet outside in the restaurant, by the way.
Is that our back door? We might need it.
Lucian's going to get up and go, they haven't closed yet. He checks his watch, and they can't have closed it yet. And he...
Quick. Let's just end this episode in high five. We've done great work.
You know what? Before he goes to obviously look at Doom that's coming through the
we'll
window,
go the way out
he's
there.
going to high five with him, and he's going to just have a look outside, just to have a look.
Yeah, as you slam in the high fives, kind of cementing the episode as a overall success for the whole party. You take a look out through the curtain or whatever it is that you guys have been in this back room close to the kitchen. And there are 4 gentlemen in long coats with submachine guns waiting for you outside.
What do they look like?
Yeah, what do they look like?
They don't look
Egyptian?
friendly, but they certainly
Egyptian?
look like... Yes, they are certainly
Bitch.
Egyptian. And that is where we're going to end tonight's eround of the Masks of Nyarlathotep. Success, everybody! You guys
What
nailed
an episode!
Round of applause.
We got so much done. We talked to all of
Fantastic.
the people.
How
But
much
some of
there's
them
no
are-
bullshit yet?
Successful Cthulhu episode ever.
100%.
No
Yeah, you
bullshit.
guys didn't fail a roll.
We crushed that shit.
Yep.
I still can't believe my hot streak of like, oh, I only have a 10 in this skill. 10.
Yeah.
That was like 5 episodes in one. I was like,
Did
wow,
you
we got through like
I don't think
3
you rolled
pages.
over
It's crazy.
20, didn't you, Lind? You didn't roll
Not
over
during
20.
that bit. I got hard successes on pretty much everything, and like including charm and persuasion. I was like,
Insane.
And look!
Insane.
And a great NPC guest star from Staffen.
Yeah.
Awesome job
Thanks, Staffen.
coming in as Gavigan.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just
Absolutely.
sorry, Stefan. It's just, why you gotta always be the bad guy?
Yeah, Stefan really nailed the, like, he's so boring, he can't possibly be evil thing that Gavigan's got going. Like, all he does in the book is just talk about archaeology, and everyone's like, fucking Gavigan, man.
The problem we have now is when he comes on, we're going to go instant bad guy.
Kill him!
That's why I said we
Straight away.
shoot him.
That was the
Every
plan.
time
That
he
was the
pops
plan.
in.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Amazing. Well, my friends, that's all we've got time for tonight with Call of Cthulhu. Thanks so much to the Greyhawk channel on the raid there towards the end. If you enjoyed this, you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop us a comment. We love hearing from you guys. Stick around if you're here live with us on Twitch. We've got a new game starting. It's episode 1 of Warhammer Spite of the Witch King, in which the whole party are playing Dark Elves of Nagaron on a Black Ark, coming back in to meet with our good friend, the Witch King. Can't wait for it. But let's go around the cast and the crew real quick. Did we enjoy ourselves? And where can we find you wonderful people online? Let's start with Greg. How's that tonight, my friend?
Fantastic. I and I'll hand to God, I miss Pruitt and Don very much. We just crushed this shit, though, man. We got a shitload done. They're going to be really happy that we actually did something right. We didn't. Well, they're coming in, and it's going to look like we did something wrong. If they watch the episode, they're going to know that we
That's
did
the funny
something right.
thing.
Right.
We're just gonna
So-
see machine guns pointed at us and be like, "What do you mean
That's
you
okay.
crushed the episode last week?"
Listen, it doesn't matter. Chat knows that we did awesome. Grimjack21502 on the Twitch, Tales from the Grim. Wait, Grimjack21502 on the Twitter, Tales from the Grim on the Twitch, and check us out over there. We got a lot of fun things coming up. I'll plug this next Monday for the Society of Multiple Sclerosis. We're doing a charity one-shot on the channel. It should start around 5. We're doing a little Marvel Superheroes RPG. I will be judging, and we're going to have Lindy as Shadowcat. We got Dawn as Daredevil. Big Pig is Spider-Man. We got Mr. Fantastic, and we got some Jessica Jones. Show up, have fun, contribute to charity. But until next time, everybody, don't trust anybody that sits down when we're trying to have a high five. Next time.
Amazing. And Lindy, how's that tonight?
Awesome. Excuse me. Something weird happened with my voice, but I'm good. Missed Dawn and Prue a lot. Like, they were great. But we really did just get so much done this episode. It was insane. And can't believe I actually made a charm check, like succeeded on that.
Yeah.
That was an awesome sequence, and I can't believe I went down into that basement, caught a whiff of what was down there. I was like, noped out.
I wish you kept going.
Yeah, I think I'm okay, Will. I didn't need to die today.
Why did you do that?
Someone was like, "Oh, go down there, Lindy. Go down there." I don't know, maybe Greg. But anyways, you can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy on the Twitches, Twitters, Instagram, all that good stuff, where I play in a lot of games and I DM a lot of games. You should definitely check out if you like Call of Cthulhu. I DM a Call of Cthulhu game here every Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. And they're trying to go on an expedition to Antarctica, but sabotage just keeps happening. What? Crazy. I know. And on my channel on Tuesday nights, I also DM Mists of Ravenloft, where I take old Ravenloft modules and come up with the 5th edition. We are running through that. So lots of spooky stuff all around. And I love it.
Awesome. Fantastic. And last but not least, Tom.
Unbelievable episode. It really was. It was such a good episode. And I will echo what Greg and Lindy have said. We missed Don and Pruitt, but fuck, we did awesome that episode. I mean, god damn. We nailed the whole thing. So they can come next week and ruin it. So it's all good. But unbelievable episode. That was such a good episode. We shall see if Pruitt and Don actually watch this episode back. You know, we shall see. If they don't, we'll know. We'll know. If they don't, we'll know. But I myself are Redundant UK. I stream on Twitch at Redundant UK. I'm on Twitter at Redundant UK. In addition to that, we are doing an open casting for a small Call of Cthulhu campaign that I will be keeping.
Yes.
It's starting the 5th of February, I believe. It's a Tuesday, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. A bit of an awkward time, but unfortunately being in merry old Blighty, later times are a bit awkward for me. Yeah, so if you're interested, don't forget to check it up. There's a tweet on it, Encounter Roleplay. I won't give too much away, but the title is called Pendragon's Legacy. That'll be a little hint to see what it's about. But I'm excited to do it. It'll be a mini series of 6 episodes, and we'll see how that goes and go on from there. But yeah, other than that, check us out next week on Wednesday with some more Call of Cthulhu lovely stuff.
Yep. Pendragon's Legacy, or as I like to call it, Ryan Hawkes the Musical. If you want to be a part of it, the sign up link is there for you guys. Oh boy, cannot wait for next week and to see what everyone makes of what we just got up to today. But until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many net ones. We want to be a little laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Farewell. Bye.